Hey there, guys, and we're back. And I'm just gonna make way here for Dennis. Dennis is gonna be our master of ceremonies for this next part. I'm gonna run over to my other chair and tell you guys what we're doing.
All right, we are back.
All right. So here's what we're doing for those of you who don't know. This is AMC Movie Talk, our 24-hour marathon. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're so glad that you're doing this with us. For those of you who don't know, we are doing a 24-hour marathon. We started at 10 o'clock this morning. We are going through until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And the whole reason that we are doing this right now is so that we can raise money for the victims of the typhoon in the Philippines. The worst typhoon. Oh, just find it there and pause it.
There we go.
The worst typhoon in recorded history that just devastated that country and a lot of the people there. And we are here to do our part in helping to raise money. And really, it's you guys. You guys are the ones raising the money. You guys have raised already over $14,000 to support. Our original goal was $3,000, and then it was $6,000, and then it was $10,000, and now we're aiming for $15,000. And with your help, we will hit that goal. Thank you to you guys who are doing all this amazing, great stuff. We really appreciate what you guys are doing. And Dennis, I set it up there for a good starting point for you.
Oh,
Just find it wherever you want. And so what we need you to do is to go to this link, www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. Or look in the description of this video. You'll find a link you can just click on. Go over there and click on the Donate Now button and contribute and help these people who are in such dire, dire need. And show them that we, as a bunch of, as Schnepp would say, sweaty film nerds, can actually do some good in the world. And to help do that, we are going to be here all night. All night.
yeah.
And so we need your help to make this thing really happen. So thank you. Go ahead and do that. And what we've been doing, I got to let you know, I've been saying that sending questions to amcmovietalk@gmail.com, but so many of you guys have been donating. We've been taking the questions from the people that have donated, and we still have a lot of those to get through. So we're going to spend the next segment, the next 2 hours, just taking the questions that have come in from you guys who've donated and talk some movies here for the next few hours. This segment will go and take us all the way through to 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'll almost be the 12-hour mark since we started this morning. My throat is already in shambles. I don't know how I'm going to make it to 10 a.m. tomorrow. We'll find a way. So Dennis is our master of ceremonies right now. So Dennis, let's get rolling here.
Okay. Let me know, if we have done this or not already. But we have, let's see here. Anonymous question. Hey, everyone, love the show. My question is, will we see any Star Wars spin-off announcements this year? And if so, what would they be?
I think so. If you're talking about this year, as in 2014, yeah. Because the first Star Wars spinoff is supposed to come in 2016. So for those of you who don't know, here's how Disney is doing this. They're going to have a Star Wars main story, okay? So Star Wars Episode 7, you're going to have Star Wars Episode 8, Star Wars Episode 9. So you're going to have a main Star Wars story. Those will come every other year. So in 2015, we're going to get Star Wars Episode 7. And then in 2017, we're going to get Star Wars Episode 8. In 2019, Star Wars Episode 9. So every 2 years, we'll get one new episode of the main Star Wars story. Then, in those in-between years, we're going to get Star Wars spin-off movies. So Star Wars one-shot movies. So in 2016, we're going to get a one-shot movie. And in 2018, we're going to get a one-shot movie. In 2020, we're going to get a one-shot movie.
I know they haven't announced it, but one of them is Boba Fett.
You think that's official?
It is. I know. So
Really?
I know for a fact.
You heard it here.
You heard it here,
first.
folks. It's official.
Sorry,
according to John Schnepp,
Yeah.
Boba Fett will be one of the spin-off movies.
I will never reveal my source, but it is the one written by Lawrence Kasdan.
His source is Cosmic Book Movie News.
Yeah, Cosmic Book Movie News told me about the Boba Fett solo standalone movie that you are going to freak out over, and it's going to be awesome.
So that's the way it's going to be. So will we hear this year, 2014, an announcement about that first spin-off movie? Absolutely, because 2016 is not that far away. So we'll absolutely hear something this year. You guys have any other thoughts on that?
No.
They'll definitely. I mean, they're also doing a new animated series called Star Wars. I think it's called Rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah. So I mean,
I don't think it'll be part of continuity.
no, I mean, but it'll be from what I'm hearing, it takes place after the Clone Wars and then before Star Wars Empire. So it's like we've got Darth Vader in there.
Okay.
So it'll be, we'll finally be able to have like newer stories with Darth Vader. Like I always felt like I got gypped with Revenge of the Sith. And it was like, hey, Darth Vader. He's like, no, and that's it.
That was terrible.
That's it.
That was a terrible.
Come on, man. Yeah. Well,
Terrible.
No.
So at least we'll get more fun with Vader.
And of course, they added that no to Return of the Jedi as well.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
On the latest version,
They added that when the Emperor gets thrown down that chute, they added a no.
Oh,
yeah, literally. Yes, they added it. And it's like, come on,
it's
man.
like, hey, how many ways can we make these the original worse and
Yeah,
worse?
suck more.
Yeah.
I have another addition that they should add. When Darth Vader throws the Emperor, instead of him just going no, he should also be farting like that. Why not? They've added all these farts in
This
there.
day sucks.
Yeah, shouldn't have done that. Yeah, a whole bunch of little special
Should have
editions.
seen that coming.
Yeah, every time you watch the new version of Return of the Jedi, there's a brand new thing that he yells when Darth Vader throws him down that tunnel.
And the next time, after he throws him down, standing at the rail will be one of those Trade Federation guys. Oh, you should have seen that coming.
That's right.
And it's racist.
Racist. Vader, you did not know that we have ancient Chinese secrets. Oh, I said too much.
It is a very long fall down there. Yeah, that would have been perfect.
Extra racist.
All right. Grant Davis says, "Hey guys, let's push for 15,000. I think we're getting close.
Getting
to
close.
My question is, there have been many films that I've been really excited for and that have been really disappointing in. The Dark Knight Rises, Inglourious Bastards, The Village, Wind Talker, Spider-Man 3, and others. What were your guys' all top 5 movie disappointments except for the Star Wars prequel?"
Can I just please ask, why is Wind Talkers part of that group of films?
Did you really think it was going to be all that good?
No, I mean, but like, all these other films are like, I can see why that would be disappointing. Wind Talkers?
Yeah.
It just seems like the weirdest. Can you read that list one more time?
But in Wind Talker's defense, really, when you think about the historical context of the movie,
Right.
it's a very interesting story. I mean, that could have been a really good movie.
No,
But not
totally,
when I was staying up at Christmas Eve
but
looking
not,
forward to.
Yeah, not like with the rest of the. That's what I'm saying. That list, even The Village is not that big of, like, I can't wait for The Village to come out.
Inglourious Bastards, I wasn't disappointed.
I
at
loved
all,
Inglourious Bastards.
You know what? True story. I told this story at Comic-Con, and it's still true. Of course, it's still true. I hated Inglourious Bastards. Hated it. Thought it was terrible. Thought it was absolute trash, garbage. Couldn't believe how far Quentin Tarantino had fallen from grace that would make something that awful. Watched the movie again about a year later. Brilliant. Awesome movie. What the hell was I thinking? All I can think is that I must have been in one hell of a bad mood the day that I first saw Inglourious. I don't know that I've ever had a turnaround like that, where I saw a movie once and hated it.
180.
Thought it was terrible. Then about a year later, watch it again and go, what was I thinking? This movie's awesome. So, that's me with Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I got to say, Inglourious Bastards and District 9 was my best double feature of that year.
Nice.
That was like, I
That's a
went and
good
saw
one,
both
yeah.
of those films. They're completely different from one another and equally fun. So,
Nice.
Wind Talkers, not so much.
Oh, so, but what's the question?
Yeah.
But what are your top 5 movie disappointments? I think, and he's stipulating except for the Star Wars prequel, so that we won't talk about them.
Oh, but I want to talk
But
about
we won't
Star
bash
Wars.
on them.
Yeah.
So people get mad.
You mean besides
people
the
get
Phantom
angry,
Menace
yeah.
and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith? Besides those 3 honking pieces of trash?
And I think you had mentioned this before. It's really hard for us to just go off the top of our head our top 5.
Yeah.
But maybe let's name someone.
Sure. I mean, a couple that come to mind. For instance, this year, I mean, like I said earlier in the show, you would not believe how much I was looking forward to Gangster Squad. I thought I liked the director. I liked the whole cast. I thought it looked like I liked the period that was happening in. I love gangster films. And that movie was awful. It ended up on my top 10 worst films of the year list. I really thought it was that bad. Transformers 2, because I really loved the first Transformers. So I was really disappointed in Transformers 2. I don't know. I can't put Dark Knight Rises in there. I still think Dark Knight Rises It was a disappointment to me.
But
I
it wasn't
wanted
huge.
better, but I didn't hate the movie, so I can't really call it my disappointment. Maybe you can't.
I hated that movie, and we'll call it the biggest disappointment for me of that year as far as superhero movies. In fact, I have
because
to
you
thank...
love the other ones so much.
I
You
do.
really yeah.
No, I really do. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, I absolutely love those films. So to have that crushing third one suck so bad, at least for me personally, just not carry through with any of the storylines correctly, ruin time jumping. Like, here's 5 months that happened in 3 seconds. Here's 4 months that happened in 5 minutes. Here's 8 years that happened. It was just like, where are we going? And how come he has a super leg that he's got a splint on through half the movie that now doesn't matter because a guy punched him in the back.
And a villain who talks like a gay English butler.
Yeah, and who dies.
Mr.
Yeah,
Wade.
dies like a pussy.
Yeah.
By Catwoman. I do have to thank The Dark Knight Rises because I was so disappointed with it. And this was like right after seeing the movie. I remember I didn't want to bum my friends out because they were all like, wasn't that great? And I was like, hey, let's go get a drink. I didn't want to talk about it to bum their high because I was like, everyone's so excited about movies sometimes. I had the same reaction to the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull when I came out and saw it. And, I came out of the theater and a bunch of my friends went and saw it with me, but we were all sitting separately because you go and there's like 30 people that you all know. We're all seeing it together. A bunch of them were like, wasn't that great? And I was like, I hated it. And so I got into an argument with a friend. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. Like with this, I don't want to bum anyone else's high up. But I was so disappointed with that movie that I actually went and saw The Amazing Spider-Man like 3 days later because Spider-Man had been out. The Amazing Spider-Man had been out already for like 3 weeks. And I was like, I'd seen the trailers and I just was not excited about it. I was like, it feels like another origin movie. I don't want to waste my time. I just had this real negative feeling about The Amazing Spider-Man. I was so disappointed with The Dark Knight Rises. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go see The Amazing Spider-Man now. It can't suck worse than this, or if it does, maybe I'll like Dark Knight Rises better. And boy, was I surprised. I really liked The Amazing Spider-Man.
I love The Amazing Spider-Man.
I thought it was such a refreshing new take on the Spider-Man franchise. I didn't mind that they went through the origin again because they kind of rejiggered it so that Oscorp actually has a place in this new series.
Dude, I kid you not, Ann and I watched it again on Christmas Eve. We watched Amazing Spider-Man again on Christmas Eve, and I unabashedly, I still stand by this. I believe it is better in every way, shape, and form than the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I still think Spider-Man 2 was better than The Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
But I love The Amazing Spider-Man. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, I can't wait for The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with, all the 8 million villains. I don't care. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'll say Dark Knight Rises was one of my biggest disappointments.
This year alone, Elysium, I was
disappointed with
really
that,
looking forward to. It was one of my top most anticipated movies, and I saw it and I thought it was okay. I liked some of it, but it didn't hit that high of a District 9. I'm like, it's going to be his second film. He's going to be more experienced. He got a bigger budget. He's got Matt Damon and Sharlto Copley.
Yeah, it's
going to kick out. Jodie Foster's in it, And then when I watched it, I was like, I think he tried to do a little too much.
I felt like it was a remake of District. Well, we've talked about that before. I think if you go over what the real general plot points were, it was the exact same film as District 9 in a lot of ways.
I wasn't as disappointed as you guys. In fact, I wasn't disappointed. I actually really liked it as being a fresh science fiction film that had a really good message about, just usually science fiction to me works best when it's a cloaked metaphor, just like all the best Star Treks. This one was about our health insurance, and why does it take so much money to pay for a human being's life, and why do the poor get screwed? And it was like one of those kinds of things where you can see, there's I didn't go to that movie to be taught a lesson, but at the same time it was a fun film, so I wasn't as bummed out as you guys.
Yeah,
guys, just to let you guys know, we are $458 away from 15,000.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
$458 away from 15. We're at $14,542. Go on over now to that URL. You see www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. That's the whole reason we're doing this marathon, guys. There are some people that are really hurting tonight in the Philippines after the typhoon. We are here doing this all night to encourage you guys to kick in and help. And you guys have raised this much money to help an awful lot of people. Let's keep going. Let's hit that $50,000 mark.
Whoever's watching it right now, you don't have to put in like $50. I mean, if everybody watching right now just put in $5, just put in $5.
The minimum donation is $10.
Like I said, $10. like I previously mentioned, the $10 limited donation. Just put in $10. It would help out a lot of people in the Philippines right now.
Right now, there are 1,000 people in our live chat board. 1,000 people. If each one of you put in $10,000 we would end the crisis in the Philippines.
But
If each one of you 1,000 people put in $10,000 right now, we would end the crisis in the Philippines.
or if 500 of you put in $10, that would definitely help
a lot, yes.
a lot. I think so. Don't be bashful. $10. Hey, that's a sandwich.
A friend of mine used to say, "Hey, if you want to make $1 million, you can do one of two things: sell a million things for $1, or sell one thing for $1 million." Let's go for this. Somebody out there, donate $150,000 right now. Somebody out there, jump in, donate $150,000
if you can.
if you can.
If you can afford it.
Yeah, be safe.
Don't mortgage your home.
Yeah, don't get
Don't
crazy.
steal your mom's credit card.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Realm of reality. So,
all right, sorry. Let's keep going.
Another movie, Terminator Salvation. I love
Oh my goodness!
trailer,
Yes.
and I watched it. I was so disappointed. And it's one of those cases where like sometimes it doesn't matter. Like you were talking about, it doesn't really matter how passionate someone is. I remember seeing McGee at some like Q&A thing before Terminator Salvation came out, and he was very passionate about the film. I mean, I honestly believe that he really loved the franchise and he wanted to do a good job.
Sure.
But then when I watched it, yeah, I was really disappointed. So.
yeah, it was. It ruined so many possible moments that it had so much potential. Yeah. That's the other crushing thing sometimes is like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of movies that come out every year that just completely suck and blow, and you would never even ever think about going to see them. The thing that really bothers me, and I'm sure you guys, when you see a movie that has so much potential to be so awesome and just collapse and keeps tripping on its own self and falling, and by the time it's ending, it's just rolling towards you, and you're like, what is this?
That was Terminator Salvation for me.
You know what? I just saw it finally. Lone Ranger. What a honking, boring horror show of trash and wasted talent. Like, you know, you can get on Johnny Depp all you want about he's become a cartoon.
Super talented dude.
He's so talented. Like I was going to say he's become a cartoon version of himself because he was like, hey, I'm a crazy pirate. Now look at me. I'm a goofball. I'm a bird or whatever. In this, he's like,
now
Tonto.
I'm a vampire.
Yeah.
Now
right.
Tonto. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I actually kind of liked his version of Tonto, you know, and for having read reviews of it and just been like, I can't even bear to go sit in that theater for 2.5 hours to see that because I thought I didn't like the trailers or anything about it. So, and after the reviews, I was like, I'm definitely not going to see it. Though I wanted to I was still
interested.
Yeah, still interested in just seeing it. Just how big of a disaster can this be? Are all these people just being negative? Boy, so many of them were on the money. Like it was so boring. I passed out because I was watching. I rented it. I am not kidding. I passed out 4 times trying to watch it. So boring.
The first time I watched it, I walked out after 10 minutes.
The cutaway scenes, like what was the whole thing with the old Tonto and the boy? Like,
hey, that old makeup looked pretty good. That was pretty good old makeup.
Yeah,
but yeah, did it make any sense? Yeah, why?
And then they would cut during they'd have this action sequence, and then they'd stop, and then they go back to it.
Right.
Like, okay, why? I thought at first they're going to bookend this thing. It's going to be in the beginning. It's going to be the end. I don't like bookends.
Oh no.
But at least if it was just the bookends, we'd only see them. But they kept weaving
I think
it
eight or nine times that little kid eating his popcorn. Tonto is like hanging over an edge of a cliff. You're like, oh, we're back to this guy again? What's up? Yeah, and you know what? That wouldn't be the worst thing if it was just those little like crimbly little scenes with him and the old Tonto and the little boy. If it was just that sucked about it, that I wouldn't have complained. It was everything about all the characters, the way they were introduced, the villains, Cavendish. Like why is he eating? Why is he a cannibal? And why did they decide to show it in this really weird, strange way? I mean, look, Gore Verbinski's a good director.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's not made amazing films. This film, though, what is going on? I just felt like so excessive to the point of just like it made no sense.
Look, I said this before earlier in the show. We've all had a bad day in the office. Even Spielberg had a bad day in the office when he made The Terminal. I mean, everybody has a bad day in the office. That's not to bag on the collection of their work or anything.
Right.
Not at all. It's just, look, I've had horrible AMC movie talk shows. I'm sure you had bad episodes of Metalocalypse.
Yes.
I'm sure you've done some crap work in your time. We all do. I mean, that just happens. But we call it what we see it. And Lone Ranger was terrible.
I mean, it basically ended the relationship between Jerry Bruckheimer and Disney.
Disney, it really did.
Because if it had been a huge success, Disney would have retained that relationship. They probably would have renewed for X amount of years.
Right.
But instead it was like, I think it's time to part ways here.
Well, and also Jerry Bruckheimer had a couple of like not big box
Sorcerer's
offices.
Apprentice.
Yeah, there was a couple in a row. It wasn't just Lone Ranger. I
Yeah.
think Lone Ranger was the one that finally pushed it. And he's a great producer. He's
Yeah.
made tons of fun films. In
Yeah.
fact, Con Air was one of them. I
Absolutely,
was
he's a
talking
great
about.
producer.
Top
Yeah.
Gun.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills
Cop.
The first Pirates of the
The
Caribbean.
first Pirates of the
Yes.
Caribbean. You guys think of any other disappointing films?
Did I say Lone Ranger?
Yeah.
It's just so long. I might have to talk about it
it's
again.
tough. We talked about this before. It's tough to come up with lists off the top of
Right.
our head. Those are things we need to sit down and actually write out and think
research
about.
and take a look
It's hard to
at.
come up with the top.
Oh,
of our
you know
head.
what? I had written down my top 13 films that I was disappointed by. So let me just check it out really quick. Well, really quick. That never works. Oh, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
I like the
I liked it.
I hated that
like that
movie.
movie.
I almost couldn't finish watching
I
it.
liked it. I enjoyed it.
Trance.
I didn't see it.
Danny Boyle's
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
horrible film. All Is Bright, and now we're lead Gangster Squad, The Way Back, and World War Z. There were a couple of
I actually ended up
films
liking
that,
World War Z.
Yeah, I enjoyed World War Z. I don't think it was great. Or
No, I don't
anything.
think it was great either, but I thought it ended up being. I actually they evolved it to the point where at least I walked out thinking, yeah, I liked it. I liked it. I'm glad
You're
I saw
right.
that.
World War Z isn't in my the worst films,
Right.
but it's like it was one of those films that was disappointing to me. Like I
And
really,
you know what? My expectations for it were so low because of all the drama that went into producing it, reshooting half of it, the fights between the
Changing the
studio and the
ending.
director,
Right.
all this kind of stuff. That my expectations were so low. It could have been the worst movie in the universe, and I wouldn't have walked out disappointed because I
Right.
had no differential.
no,
between
it's
where my
true. I mean,
expectations
World War
were.
Z definitely falls into that. Like I was disappointed, but not up to the level of like I had zero expectations trying to watch The Lone Ranger and
Right.
barely
Yeah.
could get through it. So.
All right, so let's go to the next question. Anders Adams writes, "Hey AMC Movie Talk crew, all this talk about Wonder Woman's casting has brought my train of thought to this thought. Provided Man of Steel 2 is a success and Wonder Woman film is produced, what would you guys think of Lucy Lawless as, I don't know how to pronounce this, Hippolyta?
Yeah, her mother.
Diana's mother.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a wonderful wink to geeks everywhere, and Lawless could portray an immortal warrior queen. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Yes. That I mean,
Cool casting,
Let's
sure.
not make the mistake of going, it has to be Lucy Lawless. No. But if they made the announcement tomorrow that Lucy Lawless was playing Queen of the Amazons, Diana's mother, all that kind of stuff, damn right. I think that would be a terrific choice for all the reasons you said. It's a great just little nod of the cap to all the geeks out there who would be really big on something like this because of her background as Xena, obviously. And she was awesome in Battlestar Galactica, too.
Yes,
by
she
the way.
was.
And she's very good on Parks and Recreation right now as Ron's wife. I think it would be a terrific, and she looks the part. She can be bad at. Absolutely. I think that would be a great choice.
Yeah, even if it's just like a flat. I mean, we're not going to see that. I don't think we're going to see her in Batman versus Superman or Man of Steel 2.
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
but yeah, as in a Wonder Woman film, sure.
All right. Patrick Monahan writes, "Hey AMC, you all rock and doing a great thing with this and all the movie news. So do you think they
Thanks,
might kill off Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in the Avengers 2? Because like John, I don't really want to see them in this movie when they have other amazing characters. I don't see them having to be around in the future Marvel movies. So if they die, not many people will care. Like if another Avenger. Thanks. Keep up the great work."
Well, obviously they don't think they're bad characters to have around, or else they wouldn't use them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't like the fact that they're in the new Avengers. I would have rather seen other characters, but they're there, and obviously they're there because they want to have them there. But even if they love these characters, I could see them killing them off. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but I could see them bringing them in, develop them, get us the audience to care about them for one reason or whatever, and then kill them. I could see them doing it.
What, you mean
gutsy.
like Coulson? I'm not going to fall for it again, Marvel. Forget it. Nobody dies in Marvel movies.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it's possible that they could do it that way, Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, Joss Whedon is known for killing off and then bringing him back, not only Coulson, but remember Spike from Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
And a few other characters.
And they are
Angel.
in one movie. They killed Loki and brought him back.
Yeah.
With reshoots.
Right.
So they didn't even wait till the next movie to bring back Loki. They
don't cry about it. Here he is.
Let's bring him back to life again. There's a lot of different ways they could do it, but yeah, they could be. Look, here's the thing, though. The word out is that they're going to kill at least one major player in Avengers 2. They ain't going to kill Iron Man.
No.
They ain't going to kill Thor. Comic book wise, you could kill Captain America, but they're not going to kill Captain America at this point. There is a possibility they could kill Black Widow, because I don't know how bought in Scarlett Johansson is with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She could be near the end of her contract, and maybe they kill her off. That's a possibility. Hawkeye, I've never cared about him. I understand, because you told me about it, that the new Hawkeye comic book is actually quite awesome.
It's so good.
And I'm hearing that from other people as well. But in the movie, as much as I love the actor portraying him, I'm not that big. I don't think anybody's all that big on Hawkeye.
If they got someone to adapt Matt Fraction's comic book script and let Jeremy Renner do that role, that movie would be fantastic.
Yeah,
it would be incredible.
But so what are you left with? So you got maybe the Widow, maybe Hawkeye, but then you got the new characters that you could go after and attack, which would be Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I think they could be on the chopping block. It's possible. I'm not going to bet money on it.
Could they be lying and saying, well, we're going to kill Jarvis? Well, Jarvis isn't a real character.
But I don't think anybody from Marvel's come out and said. I think Whedon has hinted that they're going to kill somebody, but nobody said officially, we're going to kill somebody.
Right.
But I could see them do it. Whedon has a history of killing off people, and it could happen.
I don't know why they would kill Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I mean, I'd mentioned before that those are the guys who came, I think it was like issue 24 when they like restocked the Avengers. It was Captain America, Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. That was the team of the Avengers after the big guns left. Thor was like, I'm out, son. Journey to Mystery, Hulk, all those guys, they left. Captain America was the only guy left after a couple of the first like 15 issues. And ever since then, the roster has always changed on the Avengers. And that was kind of a thing for all the fans. We would like, they're going to finally, every 20 issues or so, they would, the Vision became one of the actual characters. Yeah. So they would always like integrate new characters. Like, in the 70s, they had Tigra and, Wonder Man and all these characters. Now if you read an Avengers comic, you're like, there's like 800 Avengers. You never knew who's going to be an Avenger.
Right.
And who can go and just, it doesn't really matter if Thor isn't in the Avengers for 5 issues. It's cool. So I hope they don't kill him, just to introduce him and then kill him.
All right, what else we got?
All right. Bill writes, hey, AMC Movie Talk. I think it is great that you guys are doing this for a good cause. My prayers are to everyone in the Philippines.
You're doing it with us, Bill, not just us.
My question is, what is your favorite film score of the year? It was a great year for film music, especially for my favorite composer, Hans Zimmer. With his music for 12 Years a Slave, Rush, and Man of Steel, he has, in my opinion, done some of his best work. However, my favorite score is Stephen Price's for Gravity. It was emotional, unique, tense. My favorite film of the year, by the way. What score was your favorite? Thanks, and keep up the great work.
I'm going to go with one that you said. First of all, I loved Zimmerman's work in Man of Steel. It's a great, but honestly, another one you mentioned I think is even better, and I think it's Rush. I think the score, because it suited the film perfectly. It's not one that I'll sit down and listen to in my living room by myself, pop on a CD and listen to the score. But it fits so well and so flawlessly in with the film. I thought it was just seamless. So I really like his work on Rush. Either you guys?
Well, original score, I haven't really thought too much about it just until hearing that. I mean, yeah, definitely Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel score was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It made
Which is a score I could sit back in my living room, pop in the CD and just listen to
and
it.
I didn't make me miss the John Williams Superman score, which is saying something, because that's something that was like a big hurdle to get over. Like, what, you're not going to use that? Dun, 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 dun. Just like he came up with his own theme, his own tone for all of like just the Kryptonian scenes, the villains themes, Clark Kent Kal-El's themes. It's like everything kind of wove together in a great way, and it's really fun soundtrack to listen to. Right off the bat, when I heard that, though, I thought Wolf of Wall Street had such a fun
it really did.
soundtrack, and I know it's comprised of mainly 80s songs, but it's also comprised of a lot of other songs as well, just like 50s, 60s, 70s.
There's some early 90s stuff in there.
Yeah, just edging in on the 90s for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not really original score.
No,
Right. That's
no.
why I hesitate to say it, but I said it anyway. But yeah, it's not original scores this year for some reason just weren't on the top of my list, except for that Hans Zimmer Man of Steel one. So.
The Man of Steel one was good. I would go with Bill with Gravity. I think that score stuck with me the most. I even, remember being at the office and just and Gravity was in the next theater and just hearing that score play and be like, oh yeah, Gravity.
So I'll let everybody know we are $83 away from 15,000.
Somebody with $84.
$83 away from 15,000, raising for the Philippines. Once again, that's why we're here, folks. That's why we're doing this marathon. Go to crowdwise.com/AMC Movie News. Philippines, make your donation, make a difference in the world, help some people out. That's why we're here. We're $83 away from 15,000. Thank you for your support.
All right. Robbie Borelli writes, hey guys, great show so far for an even greater cause. A bit of a change up from the comic book questions.
Thank you.
A question about the Danish filmmaker Nicolas Winding Refn, who I believe to be a young filmmaker with great potential. Even if you didn't enjoy Only God Forgives, you have to admit the visual brilliance and the great framing of the film. He seems to be very divisive, maybe even hated by many who say he's a wannabe or pretentious. I love Drive, Valhalla Rising, and really like the Pusher trilogy and Bronson. And he has become one of my favorite directors, a director with raw talent and an offbeat, out-there style that sometimes gets lost in translation with the audience. What do you guys think about Nicolas Winding Refn? Overrated or underrated? Those seems to be the two parallels people present. You either love him or hate him.
I love him, and I think he's underrated, but I don't think he's starting to earn his due. I mean, he makes incredible films, but they aren't for everybody. So the people who love different kinds of cinema are going to gravitate towards him more so than people who are like, look, I like thrillers, I like superhero films, I like comedies. That's just a little too weird for me, which I get. It's like, that's why there's normal people and then there's fringe. Mm-hmm. So I think people who start to get closer to the fringe element, a la cult films or what have you, but also like regular films, but also want some flavor, so a little bit of difference. He always surprises you. Like Valhalla Rising is unlike Only God Forgives, which is unlike Bronson, but all of them have his temperament, his touch. So you're watching a Nicolas Refn film. Nicolas Refn Winding film. Very interesting name too.
Nick.
Yeah.
Nick's films. You're right. He has a way of handling narrative that is very unique. And you're right. He's one of those directors you can watch and say, without it being too similar, and say, this is a Nicolas Refn Winding film. To me, the film that, and this sounds like a cop-out because maybe it's his most popular, to me, his quintessential film is Drive. And because of the way he tells the story, which I think is indicative, it really is a representation of really how he handles his storytelling. I mean, there is no Only God Forgives without Drive. I think that goes without saying. His approach is amazing. When you listen to him talk about Drive, and I think he carries this over, he goes, Drive is a superhero origin movie. And because he has this way of looking at his own films in such a really weird and interesting way. But you're right. You nailed it on the head when you said he's a great filmmaker whose films aren't for everybody. And not all of his films are great. I think both you guys really liked Only God Forgives. I did not. I did not like Only God Forgives. But even in that, you could see that he is so bold in his filmmaking and how he approaches his narrative that even if you don't like a film of his, which I don't with Only God Forgives, I love Drive, and I love several of his others. You've mentioned a few of them. You still have to stand back and go, okay, this didn't work for me, but damn, I respect how he did it. I really like how he did it. And that's just the kind of filmmaker he is. And when you got a filmmaker like that, he's going to hit one way out of the park sometimes, and sometimes it's not going to really land with all people. Right. But you're never going to get a film of his that everybody universally loves, and I don't think he would want it any other way.
Right. No, he's an artist. I mean, he's a filmmaker and also someone who enjoys pushing boundaries, his own boundaries, which end up being pushing everyone else's boundaries. Like if he wants to explore and go beyond stuff that he's been doing, or he wants to, something that interests him and he's going to push himself, that usually, if you're an audience member, you're going to go along for the ride, and it could be a crazy ride, I mean, Bronson is an incredible film. It's dark You know,
Yeah.
it's very dark. I mean, the Pusher trilogy is a very dark trilogy about drug dealers. You know, you go through this family, and it's a great film. And I'll have to say this: I gave the Pusher remake, the English version, a chance, and really found myself not liking it. It definitely went in a different story mode than the first Pusher. Like it started out very similar, and then just went into this other storyline, which just didn't work because it wasn't him.
He takes risks, and when you take risks, that means half the time you're going to miss, and he's still not afraid to take those risks. What will be interesting to see with him moving forward, can he ever move in a direction where he makes a film that might have a broader appeal that would then entice a studio to say, we want to give you $140 million to make a picture, that we want to entrust you with $100 million to make a picture. It'll be interesting to see if he can diversify himself that way and be more than just, because let's face it, as risk-taking as he is, he's in his own little box right now. Be nice to see if he can get outside of that and explore a little bit more and see what he can do.
He was so close with Gosling in Logan's Run.
Yeah.
That was a $60-70 million film. Now he's doing Barbarella as like a TV series. So I'm really interested in seeing it. I mean, it's not like a hyper budget film, but it'll be interesting. That's for sure.
I want to let you guys know it is now official. Thanks to you guys, we have crossed $15,000.
Oh yeah.
We are now sitting at $15,112 that you guys have raised to support the people in the Philippines. Your selfless giving, especially here at the holiday time, is amazing. As the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, I am so effing proud of our viewers and of you guys. I set the goal at $3,000. It's Christmas time. Everybody's already spent all their money, and here we are. You guys are giving your money to help people you don't even know. That is amazing. I am so proud to be a part of the Sons of AMC and of this community, and thank you guys for all that you're doing. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Let's raise more and help even more people. Thank you again. All right.
All right.
Next?
Well, let me throw my 2 cents in.
Absolutely.
I really like him as a director. He's not one of my favorite directors, but I do love his visual style. I liked Only God Forgives. I can see why some people hated it. It's just a movie that you either accept it for what it is, or maybe even on a lesser level, like the reaction people are having to like Wolf of Wall Street. I think for some people it's too much for them. I think Only God Forgives is even more so in that direction. Right. Like imagine if the mass audience that's watching Wolf of Wall Street watched Only God Forgives. It'd be crazy, like the type of stuff that people would be saying.
Right.
Like this movie is like the sign of that's the end of humanity, or you know what I mean?
Right, the apocalypse has started. Only God Forgives is playing in theaters. Yeah, like why? Would it relax?
But yeah, I thought like maybe after Drive he would have done something more commercial, because Drive was a financial success, not a huge success, but it was a financial success with a star actor.
Right.
But then he does Only God Forgives, which with Gosling, who's a star, but there's no way you're selling that movie. I mean, it's mostly in Thai.
Right.
And it's so violent.
It's dedicated to Jodorowsky, one of the fringe filmmakers ever, the weirdest filmmakers ever to walk the planet.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to do any big budget movies. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's cool with like if he can be allowed to make the kind of films that he wants to make. That's that's it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'll always be looking forward to his next film. So
yeah.
He's a talent to enjoy when he does make something.
Neat comment on the chat board. Namney11 is writing 10 hours in and I'm still not bored yet.
Yeah, Namney.
Hang in there, guys.
It's only going to get weirder. Like 3 in the morning. Let's see who's here.
Schnepp and I have agreed to play a game of strip poker starting at 3 this
morning. That's right. 3 this morning, yo.
We're either going to bring in, I believe we're going to bring in huge European dollars.
Or we're shutting down the internet. What happened? The internet broke.
It's going to crash.
Yeah.
All right, the next, this one's just a comment. Edwin Taylor writes, I work with many Filipinos. They are lovely people, so I would like to do just a little to help their families back at home. Also, I love AMC and would like to support something they endorse and feel strongly about that. So thank you, Edwin.
Thank you so much,
thanks, Edwin.
I'm married to a Filipino girl. She is a lovely person.
Yes.
She is.
She's lovely.
Say it like a robot.
She's lovely.
She is a lovely person.
Phil G writes, hello, chat.
Oh, what? Phil G?
Phil G.
Like G-E-E?
Yes.
Dear heavens, Phil G. You guys won't know this. Phil G. is one of the original, longest time viewers of mine, going way, way back to my movie blog days. We're talking like 7, 8 years ago. That Phil G. was a member on the chat boards on the movie blog. I can't think of another name that has been around longer than Phil G. If it's the same Phil G I'm thinking of, Phil. So if it is the same Phil G, which if from England and stuff like that, good to hear from you, sir. Nice to hear from you. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, sorry, Phil G wrote
Well,
it.
he does start off with "Hello, chaps." So that might be an
Oh,
indication.
that's him.
He's definitely English.
It's my first question. Please be gentle with me. My question is about the Marvel
You son of a... No, just kidding.
Marvel Studios short films. When Disney bought Marvel, I never dreamed that Pixar would make one of their films, but I did very much hope that Marvel Studios would adopt the Pixar model. With a Pixar movie, you get a full evening of entertainment, a movie, a trailer for the next one, and a fantastic short film. I want Marvel to do the same thing. Their short films are getting better and better, but they only put them on DVD. I want them on the big screen. Do you think that will happen one day? And why do you think the shorts are only on DVD right now? Thanks very much. God bless, and kudos for organizing a great event.
Well, I would think that the shorts that are only available on the Blu-ray DVD are there only for an incentive to buy the Blu-ray and the DVD. If they released it in the theater, it wouldn't be as much of a cool thing if you couldn't only exclusively get it there. Like the new Thor movie just announced that secret Ben Kingsley short that they were shooting is going to be on the Thor movie. Mm-hmm. It's called like something like I can't remember what it's called. Whatever the title is, but it's referring to him playing King Lear. So maybe it's Ben Kingsley in jail. Who knows what it's going to be, but they're tying things in and having fun doing their shorts. I remember reading somewhere that they said like eventually they're going to take all of the short films and then maybe make a very exclusive short only for the theater and then play all of them theatrically. I don't know if they'll do that. Like they're going to take the 6 that they've made so far and then make a 30-minute special short, which would be cool. I don't know.
It's possible.
As long as it's not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? I don't know.
I love the idea. I love the idea of, you have a cinematic universe like that to throw in a short. I like that idea. Look, if you put in the effort to make these after credit scenes, that doesn't take a lot of effort. You can shoot these shorts in a day if you really want. Because, look, and our expectations of fans wouldn't be high art. Right. We just see, hey, look, we're here to see the next Iron Man film. Wouldn't it be cool if they had a cool little Captain America thing? Captain America ordering drive-through McDonald's. I think that could be funny. I think that could be cool. I would like to see them do that. I think it's a good idea.
I'm going to mix it up, or mix what he's saying, and say, Pixar should do an animated Marvel short film before the live-action Marvel movie.
Well, Pixar's already doing one. They're doing Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6.
But I'm talking about like
Pixar's doing it. Is it Pixar or is it Disney?
I think it might just be Disney.
Is it Disney? I thought it for some reason.
Pixar is owned by Disney,
right.
but Lasseter Lasseter oversees everything now at Disney Animation, whether it's Pixar or not. But
yeah, maybe
technically, I don't think it's Pixar.
Maybe it's Disney.
I would love to see Pixar do like an Iron Man short film.
Wow, that would be fun.
Kind of like more family friendly, right before a live action Captain America or something.
Watch Tony Stark drink. As a Pixar thing.
I'll disagree with you just because I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I personally wouldn't want to see like a Goofy Kids version, like an Incredibles version, and then go right into Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Well, not of the same character, of a different character.
No, but I'm saying I just wouldn't want to have that goofy. Like I loved the Incredibles, but I wouldn't want like Iron Man and the Dazzler hanging out at a club, and then now I'm going to watch this serious Captain America like political thriller. I don't know. It just put me in a weird.
On a side note, I know John, you loved Frozen.
I
liked it. I didn't like it as much as you and other people. You know what I loved though? That short Mickey Mouse film that played before.
Oh, with it coming in and out of the reality.
I love that.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it tricked me at first. At first, I thought it was an old
Disney
thing. I was like, man, because we started playing, I'm like, I've never seen this one. Wow, which one is this? And then it became obvious.
Like, well, they obviously didn't make this.
Yes.
back then.
Well, now I want to see it. I haven't seen that.
It's cool. It's definitely it's a 3D short film.
Wow.
Yeah, you need to see it in 3D. All right, next question. Mike Abel writes, "Hey guys, I was wondering what you think of Hugo Weaving as Alfred in the next Batman incarnation. I know he's only 53, which is young for Alfred, but I think this new incarnation could feature a much more badass approach to the character. Bring on the filthy."
Yeah, I like the idea of a badass Alfred. I've often said I like the old James Bond Timothy Dalton. I like him for an Alfred role very, very much. I'd like to see that. But Hugo Weaving, he's a great actor. And you could say anything that calls for a Caucasian dude over 18. And I'd say Hugo Weaving could be a candidate for that because he's just that talented. He's just that good. So yeah, I'd be down for Hugo Weaving. I mean, I'd have about 20 other guys in front of him. But if they were to announce tomorrow, if Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder came out and said, "Hey, we got an announcement tonight. We've hired Hugo Weaving to be Alfred in the new DC Cinematic Universe," I'd be, "Hey, yeah, that works."
Yeah, I wouldn't have any problems with it. But at the same time, his name doesn't jump to Alfred. You know?
Yeah.
I would rather see him come back as the Red Skull. But he's like, "I'm not doing it." So I don't know.
Yeah, I think he'd be fine with it, but there's probably a bunch of other people. Maybe you even get a go. Maybe this
People
time
are saying
go with,
Phil G is Alfred.
maybe just go a route of someone that's unknown.
That's right, Chops.
For Alfred.
Right, Chops.
Chaps.
That's right,
Chaps. All right. Drew writes, "Hello, gang. Love the fact that you guys are using what you love to help other people and have mad respect for that. My question is on a little known topic called the DC Comics Cinematic Universe." Yes, that
little known.
Yes. "Do you think that we are doing this project a disservice by calling it a universe when nothing like that has been confirmed? So far, all we know for sure is that the Superman film series, where he happens to meet at least 2 Justice League members. I have a fear about Man of Steel 2 being rumored into oblivion. Thanks again for this wonderful opportunity and keep up the great work."
Well, you know, we're going to be talking about Man of Steel 2 for at least another year and a half. And at least the next 6 months are pretty much probably going to be rumors, you know, and just and casting.
They start shooting in a month. I mean, so everything's gonna be, the rumors gonna be set to bed here. But isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is weird.
It still kind of feels like it's still so far off. They actually start principal
shooting
photography next month.
So some dude right now, while we're talking, is like humping away building the Batcave.
Yep.
Can't wait to see it. But it might even be built. They're just putting in the finishing lights. They got the giant penny. Who knows if they're like what kind of?
Wouldn't the giant penny be hilarious?
That would be great, man.
Abraham Lincoln head in there.
You know what? I mean, if they did
the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, it would be too incredible. I mean, and those are just so you know what we're talking about. We're talking about, like, you know,
the Batcave.
Yeah, and Batman would collect certain things from some of his past, you know, adventures. So, you know, I don't know if they're going to get that. I don't know if that's corny or if they could probably just do it in a cool way.
It would be kind of corny. It would, but it would be kind of fun to see.
If it's all the way in the back, like, what's that? Like covered in a big penny is with a sheet over it.
Although, you know what? I'm very public in my belief that in no way, shape, or form should Robin exist in this universe at all. And I've explained why 1,000 times. I won't go into it again. But it would be kind of cool if off in the background somewhere in the Batcave you had the glass case
with the Robin
with
suit.
the empty Robin suit in the middle, and they never even refer to it.
Dude, that would be badass.
That would be kind of cool. That would
be so cool. And on top of that, all of a sudden, you're just saying so much with a visual image.
Yep.
It's like pure cinematic storytelling. You're setting up the Batman trilogy that Ben Affleck's going to do, but you're also giving him so much history. That's why I'm all for the crazier versions of stuff that Batman has, and I love that idea. I think that's great.
All right. Adam Douglas writes, "Great work so far. Make sure you guys do a coffee run so you don't hit a wall during hour 20.
My wife actually just brought in a drink for me here, so trust me, that part of the reason. Look, I said before, we do have these things where YouTube is not going to let us stream for 24 hours straight, obviously, so we have to break it up into chunks. But what the breaking up into chunks has been allowing us to do is to take those 10 minutes, get something to drink, just sit on the couch for a minute, relax a bit. We are in hour 11. We are into our 11th hour at this point. Clearly, my throat, I've just been sucking on a Halls. I've got some tea here and orange juice. My throat is starting to go a bit. And, you know, Dennis has been on site here since 11 a.m. this morning. Schnepp is already. It doesn't feel like Schnepp's already been here for 4 hours. He's been here almost 4 hours. So these little breaks have been allowed. So we are pacing ourselves.
I'm not as run down as these guys yet, but I'm not going to be doing this voice for much longer. So,
we're thank you for your understanding in that.
His question is, how about you guys talk about some of your favorite films from any of these well-known marathoners? Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, or Jerry Lee Lewis?
What about Bruce Jenner? What, all of a sudden triathlons don't count?
Billy Crystal, Princess Bride, and anytime he's hosted the Oscars.
When Harry Met Sally for me.
Yeah, When Harry Met
City
Sally.
Slickers for me.
Yeah, City Slickers is another good one.
Name the next person? Just name the
Robin Williams. Good Morning Vietnam.
I think Christopher Nolan's most underrated film, Insomnia.
I really liked him in that where he was the murderer, 1 hour photo.
1 hour photo.
1 hour
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah.
I like that too.
He's also a murderer in Memento. Not Memento.
Insomnia. Yeah.
And let's not forget the film he won his Oscar for, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. I was going to mention Hook, but no, I wasn't.
No.
Robin Williams is just, he's such a goofball that we completely forget he is a world-class actor.
He's an incredible actor.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Oscar nominations. He's got an acting Oscar sitting on his shelf, and he could have more if he wanted them.
Yep.
I mean, he's just world-class, and that's why a guy like Christopher Nolan goes out and gets a guy. He acted in Insomnia, a Christopher Nolan film, alongside Al Pacino and out-acted Al Pacino. Now, granted, we were in the era where Al Pacino was just kind of phoning it in, but still.
I'll beg to differ. I don't think he out-acted Al Pacino. Upon seeing it recently, I saw it projected like 2 years ago. I think it was when they did a whole bunch of runs of Christopher Nolan stuff, and there was Insomnia. And when I first saw the film, I would agree with you, but having seen it recently, I realized what a great performance Al Pacino put into that film. I don't know if that's just because of the latest, group of Al Pacino films that he's recently done that have sucked so hard that you go back to, Insomnia, and you're like, now that's when Al Pacino could act,
Eduardo Murillo in the chat board reminds of a great performance that we don't see him in. Aladdin.
Oh, yeah.
He made that movie.
You're right.
He made that movie. Absolutely, yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Ghost. Color Purple.
Sister Act.
No.
Star Trek Generations.
Color Purple? Did we say that?
Yeah, said the Color Purple.
All right.
Sister Act 2.
Sister Act.
Electric Boogaloo.
And Jerry Lee Lewis.
Nutty Professor.
Jerry Lee Lewis?
Yes.
Jerry, that's a singer.
I think he probably just meant Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Great Balls of Fire.
That movie where he sleeps with his 14-year-old cousin.
Yeah.
That movie.
Love that movie. Yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lewis is probably what you're talking about.
Yes.
That one film that still has never been released, The Day the Clown Cried. Come on. Jerry Lewis, can you please release that clown Nazi film? Because
I
want
will
to
not.
see it.
I will not say his racist turn as the Japanese neighbor in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
No, but you know what? I will say Jerry Lewis did an incredible job in The King of Comedy.
Oh yeah,
fantastic film.
That is an underrated
It's
movie.
super underrated. What an incredible, amazing film. De Niro, Scorsese, Jerry Lewis.
Scorsese has more range than people give him credit for. Because he's known
incredible.
as the gangster movie guy, but he's done so much more.
Yeah, so King of Comedy.
King of Comedy.
Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah, just a bunch of different stuff that he's just known for a particular type of movie.
I'm drawing a blank, unfortunately, but it's like Jerry Lewis and I think Johnny Depp, and I want to say this blonde actress. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the film. One of you guys look
Johnny
it up.
Depp.
Yeah. And it's a really interesting film. It's not like his best performance. I think
there's an assignment for you guys in the chat board. Movie with Johnny Depp and Jerry Lewis.
It's about he's a planes.
Yeah, so
involved.
Look that up. Fire off the answer. Help us out here in the.
But yeah, King of Comedy. If you've never seen it, any other?
No, that
was it.
It's let's
good
go
question.
To the next question.
Yeah, Phil G. You should have asked a question like that.
Well, I guess this is a question.
Just kidding.
I think more for me and John. I don't know if you saw this, John, but Samson Polio Wallace Ionadis writes, I just watched the UFC doc Fighting for a Generation the other day. Do you think we will ever see a movie about it? Maybe from the Fertitta's point of view or a fighter's point of view. If the UFC gets the right director and actor, they could reach even more new fans. Did you see that? Because I saw it.
I did not.
Okay.
A massive UFC fan, and I did not see that.
Okay. I saw it. I really liked it. I think one day, not anytime soon, but one day, maybe like 20 years from now when MMA is even bigger than it is now, that they could turn it into a story. Because there are, the beginnings of it and showing kind of the hardship they had to legitimize MMA as a sport.
Oh, wait a minute. I did see this. Yes. Yeah, okay.
And the high point was the Ultimate Fighter finale for season 1. And just like that was the turning point for them. So I can see they probably won't, it'd be a movie that probably only covers 2 or 3 years of time, but I don't think it would do the whole gamut of 20 years.
I just sort of thank you, chat board. Everybody on the chat board is firing off Arizona Dream.
And you are correct. Thank you for using Google. No, I mean, whoever remembered it. Yeah, Arizona Dreams. A pretty cool film. I remember liking it and being surprised. So, and Jerry Lewis is in that.
So, John, do you think they could eventually make a narrative movie of it?
It's a Rocky kind of movie. I mean, it's one you could make. Here's the thing, though. MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world, but it's not completely mainstream yet.
No.
And you got a movie like The Fighter with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton.
Oh, no, The Warrior, you mean?
Sorry, Warrior.
Warrior. Not The Warrior. Warrior.
Not Fighter, Warrior, which was amazing.
Yes.
Brilliant performance. I believe Nick Nolte had a Best Supporting Actor nomination for that as well.
He was fantastic.
Just a great movie. Not just a great MMA movie, a great movie. And it didn't do well at the box office. Audiences aren't ready for a movie like that yet, and therefore studios won't be ready to make one. But the time is coming. I'd say maybe 4 years from now, you could do one and do it as a narrative, and I think it could be compelling and maybe work then, but it wouldn't work today yet.
I think even longer, maybe like 10
Think longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think MMA still has a ways to go. It's definitely getting more popular. I mean, I remember the whole Anderson Silva thing. That was all over ESPN, and like Twitter was all abuzz.
3 years ago, the results of a UFC card would not be on the front page of ESPN.
No.
And it's not just the Anderson Silva leg break. Now, like when George St. Pierre defended recently, front page of ESPN. I mean, and that's happening now, and it didn't happen just a couple of years ago.
And let me just chuck in, even though I'm not a big sports person, now they've got the female league with Sousey and
Ronda Rousey.
She's really
Rousey.
popular.
Yeah.
Even
She kick all of our asses.
Yeah.
yes, at the same time.
Yep.
And I'd like to see that happen.
And laugh as she was doing it.
I would pay to see that happen.
A little bird named Holly told me that Jerry Lewis wasn't in Breakfast at Tiffany's. You're thinking about Mickey Rooney.
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
Thank you, little bird named
okay.
Holly.
Couldn't tell under the makeup.
That's true.
All right.
Wait, did you guys ever see Mickey Rooney do that Bill, where he played like kind of a slightly retarded guy?
No.
Nope.
Back in the 80s?
But I know on Family Guy they do Mickey Rooney a lot, and it's always hilarious.
Yeah, it's like Mickey Rooney playing a retarded person. Like he did it once, and everyone was like, "He's incredible." Then it was like a made-for-TV sequel called The Return of Bill, and it was like horrible. Where I was like, "You're obviously making fun of retarded people." It was like one of the. I just remember that as a kid. It was like created this ruckus, like because we all watched. It was like, "Oh, it's so sad the way they're treating that poor retarded person," and then the second one became a comedy. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Sorry, I don't even know why I thought of that because of Mickey Rooney. There you go.
All right. Ray A. asked, greetings. I know John hates the Star Wars prequels, but do the rest of the sons and goddesses of AMC think they have redeeming qualities, or will it be looked on more favorably with time? I love the originals as a kid. I got into a fight with a kid saying Star Trek was better. But even
kicked his ass.
But even I admit they have few acting and story flaws. Many kids enjoy the prequels as much as we enjoyed the originals. Also, there seems to be a difference between how parents and non-parents view the films. There's a little more of an ability to experience them through a kid's eyes and sense of wonder. Things like my daughter's first emotional response to a movie was crying at the scene where Padme was telling Anakin he was breaking her heart. Thanks, and keep up the awesome job. Let me say something real quick. This is what's going to prove everyone that uses that argument wrong. When J.J. Abrams Episode 7 comes out, and us people who love the original trilogy and hate the prequels like that movie, how can you say it's because we didn't grow up with it? Because this is going to be a brand new movie that we didn't grow up with, that I'm going to guess right now, I'm not saying this is 100%, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it. And so how do you explain the fact that I didn't grow up with it, but I still like it?
Here, I'll say one thing. Like, I'm also in the camp of disliking those prequels very, very, very much. But I have to acknowledge what he wrote, and I have to acknowledge that when little kids, like a little 4-year-old girl, watches Padme crying and saying, "You're breaking my heart," it has a totally different emotional impact than us. That we grew up with the original trilogy, saw that kind of quality, and then watched it get shat upon in the prequels. They don't have that. They didn't view it in the same way that we did. So I can understand why even a 6-year-old boy would be like, "I love Anakin," and or would love Attack of the Clones. Like, if I went back in time and I looked at like all those Ray Harryhausen, like, Sinbad movies that I watched and ate up, it was like crack. I was like, I can't wait to see another monster movie. And then watched it right now and then had an adult tell me you are wrong and you're stupid because those Ray Harryhausen movies are made for children. And this one movie is, well, obviously we wouldn't be saying that because we're not saying Star Wars was made for kids. We're not saying Empire Strikes Back was made for kids, even though they were like made for young adults. They weren't made for children. George Lucas always said that, and he's always been wrong. That's why it bugs me when he would be like, "It's always been made for kids." No, you decided to say that when you were making Return of the Jedi and chucked a bunch of Ewoks in there for teddy bears.
Screw you, I love the Ewoks.
I'm just saying, see, even that, like, for me, like, I'll argue with people about the grossness of Return of the Jedi versus the other two. Like, I still love Return of the Jedi, but it doesn't hold a candle to the first two, in my opinion. But it really is an age thing comes in when you have a 6-year-old kid watching, say Revenge of the Sith, and their only experience is those newer movies.
But I don't think
they also don't have the emotional depth to understand what
I'm
is a
not
good
telling
movie,
people, look, you shouldn't like the prequels. I'm saying I don't like the prequels, and you should be okay with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the excuse that we always keep getting is, well, you didn't grow up on them, so you have a different perspective. That's why I'm saying this J.J. Abrams' new Star Wars is going to prove that theory wrong. It's going to say, wait, well, we didn't grow up with this, but why do we like this one better than the prequels? This is my guess. In 2015, after we see it, this is what's going to happen.
I don't think you're wrong, but I think what I'm saying, though, is still going to hold true. Like, there's the nostalgia, is what I'm trying to say. There's a nostalgia that kids growing up having first experienced Star Wars as with those prequels and then seeing the ones that we saw later. There's this nostalgia that they're always going to have that will remain with them throughout the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and I don't have if you like them, that's fine. I don't want people just using that as the excuse of why.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Dennis pointed this out, and he's absolutely right. I will never tell somebody they shouldn't like the prequels. I mean, you shouldn't. But if you do, more power to you. That's the beauty of film. We all like different things. That's great. What I resent is whenever people try to tell me why I don't like them. Yes. When they try to put a label on me for why I don't like them. I don't like them because they're piles of crap. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't like them. Don't tell me, you just don't like because you didn't grow up with them. No, there's lots of movies I didn't grow up with that I love. Right. Oh, you just like them. You just like the original ones because you did grow up with them. No, there are lots of movies that came out in that era that I couldn't give a crap about because they were nowhere near as good as the original Star Wars. Just don't tell me why I can't. But let me take the liberty here of going on a little bit of a rant. I said playfully, because I have a video on YouTube I made a few years ago titled, "Screw You, I Love the Ewoks." let me take a moment here to go into your emails. Let me enlighten you unwashed masses in my office here.
Yeah.
Unwashed masses.
I will forever hate the Ewoks, but please rant.
Right. So here we go. Now, a lot of people will tell me the Ewoks were just some childish. And by the way, Return of the Jedi is my number one of the Star Trilogy.
All right, you're already wrong, but go on.
My 3 all-time favorite sci-fi films. Number 3, Star Wars: A New Hope. Then number 2 is Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. My number 1 is Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. And a lot of people say, the Ewoks are just childish and put in there for this and that. And you may have other reasons why you don't like them, and that's cool. But here's my argument against that. When Lucas was originally looking at having this creature, the Ewoks, what he was trying to do was create this juxtaposition of the world of nature, the natural world, versus the world of technology. And the original idea was to have the Ewoks actually be Kashyyyk and have it be the Wookiees. He decided to go into another direction because Wookiees, he understood, were also supposed to be quite technologically savvy.
And let's not forget Life Day. That's another reason why the other reason they didn't use the Wookiees is because they already ruined it with the holiday special.
If you have not seen the Star Wars holiday special, dear heavens. Anyway, so he used the Ewoks to create this juxtaposition of the natural world versus the world of technology. But lest you think that the Ewoks are some cute, cuddly little band of Care Bears in the forest moon of Endor, keep this in mind. These are savage, flesh-eating murderers who will, number 1, track you, number 2, kill you, number 3, decapitate you, then use your heads as bongo drums in their victory celebration, and then will cook and consume your flesh. That is what the Ewoks are. These cute little fuzzy... These are little savage warriors who will cook you alive as you scream out in the forest night as your flesh burns from your bones, cut off your head, bang them in a dance, and then eat your flesh. These are the cute little childish Ewoks. These things are nightmares. I love the Ewoks, these little brutal savages.
Come on, Wicket's cute. I mean,
Wicket will kill you and then eat you.
No, I'm not arguing that. Look, it's like I like looking at pictures of polar bears, but you'll never, ever catch me out in Antarctica trying to meet one. Yeah, like I would never want to be walking along a path and then just like and then look and see a tiger. Like just looking at me, like pointing, like because that is basically death. You're basically looking like I can't outrun a tiger. I probably would have a moment to be like swallow, and it'd be jumping at me and like just cutting me open with giant talons. So my argument about the Ewoks has never really been about. I understood that as the replacement, the Wookiee and man versus nature, technology versus organic. My problem that I've always had with Return of the Jedi is that it wasn't about like selling them as teddy bears. It was about the simplification of the storyline. The Lucas basically took Star Wars and made it again. It's called Return of the Jedi. The storyline is exactly the same as the first Star Wars. The only difference is there was a middle part called The Empire Strikes Back, which was completely different.
Which is the best one.
Which to me is the best one. That is my favorite. But recently I've been reading a couple different people also were arguing for Return of the Jedi being their favorite, which I understand, and I don't have an argument with that. Just for me, it's like that Return of the Jedi, having seen them in the theaters, was disappointing that they were doing another Death Star. Like to me, it was that's my biggest beef with it. Is like. And now you'll see this Death Star is fully operational. Cut to same footage of the dudes. Like to me, as a kid, I was bummed out. If it was even the shape of a triangle, I don't think I would have been that mad.
And they called it
something else because, like,
the
obviously,
Death Triangle.
Yeah, the Death Triangle would have been so much more satisfying because as a kid, I was like, I know, but I watched the Rebels, just a small handful of these dudes, destroy a fully operational Death Star. Why are you building a second one with the same problem? Well, this time,
same flaw.
Right? With our fatal flaw is not this tiny small tube that's no bigger than a womp rat or whatever. It's actually the inside, which is a tiny tube, a coil that somebody could shoot with a laser.
There's actually bigger space to go.
Yeah, you can get a whole bunch of dudes floating around in there. Yeah,
in there.
That's my my kind of beef with it. Is like I love the what were they called? Jet speeders. The
land speeders?
No, the on bikes? Ewok. Yeah, speeder bikes. Thank you. I love that sequence. There's a whole bunch of sequences that I loved, but to me, I felt the storyline. Lucas just stumbled and like made Leia Luke's sister, and there's a bunch of things that just like just didn't feel right to me when I saw it. And, years of whitewashing it have then finally been like, okay, so I'll accept that Luke and Leia are brother and sister and this and yada, yada, and we're moving forward into this new trilogy. I'm cool with it. Still weird to watch Luke and Leia in Star Wars. Sorry, you can't lie to me. You didn't have that set up when you filmed that movie because they're kissing and it's just weird.
I thought it was hot.
It's some weird.
I thought it was hot.
It's weird. So sorry, I'll never believe that.
See, it's funny you mentioned it because I honestly I've never heard anybody mention the reconstruction of the Death Star as being a problem for him. This is a unique perspective. I've never heard that before. Because to me, I think I would have had a problem with, okay, we built this ultimate destructive force in the galaxy. It got destroyed because of this flaw we had in it. Let's never make it again. I would think, are you kidding me? I'm going to build another one. Bitches, come blow it. And guess what? If you blow it up, I'm going to make another one.
He might have had 4 more. We don't know how.
Exactly.
It was like, I actually have 7 other moon planets that have these half-finished Death Stars. I just won't reveal them yet. Oh, no. This one falling down the tube yelling, no.
Well, there was even more stuff that Lucas changed with that one. Did you see when John, you're talking about the Ewoks celebrating, they cut to the different worlds
yes.
and they added all this CG to it, and it's just crazy like how different it is. And then obviously they took out the old Anakin ghost and put in Hayden Christensen.
Right, which I don't like.
No.
And they also kind of tried to change the Sebastian Shaw's face. They put Anakin or the actor Hayden Christensen's eyes in there when they take Darth Vader's mask off. Mm-hmm. They did all this kind of weird digital repurposing. It's like, to me, there was and still, I'm like, well, you spent all this time fixing those problems. What about Darth Vader's lightsaber when the door is closing after he's like, shoot the door, kid? Still white and not colored in. I was like, that's the one thing I remember. When my second San Diego Comic-Con convention, just there as a fan, I somehow magically ran into all these guys from Industrial Light and Magic, and they told me that they were redoing Star Wars, and this was before it had been announced, and I was like, basically almost having a nerd heart attack. Like, I didn't want to leave the table. I just what do you mean? Well, we're doing 3D X-Wings, and they're just telling me all this stuff, and my mind was having miniature strokes. But I remembered, I was like, are you going to fix that one scene? I specifically asked this guy, and he was like, oh, yeah, we're going to do it. And when I saw it and they didn't, I was like, that liar. I'm sure, I think they fixed it now, though, in the newer
You guys were talking about the different replacements, how they replaced, the original actor with Hayden Christensen. They put in the eyes. The one thing that they did to replace, which I think I'm actually okay with and actually completely approve of, in Empire Strikes Back, as they pull out of the minefield or out of the asteroid field, because the one commander says to Vader, the Emperor commands you make contact. Boy, this is as nerdy as we're going to sound. And he goes out, and the big holographic image of the Emperor comes up.
And it's Palpatine.
In the original, it wasn't.
Right, it wasn't
Ian McDermott.
Right,
it was another actor.
No, it was an old woman and with this weird prosthetics and monkey eyes.
Yeah. It was really, really totally weird looking, and they decided let's replace him with Ian McDermott. That made sense.
Yeah. Yes,
and I'm glad they made that change. But everything, don't get me started about the
No.
edition.
I mean, some of the changes were actually really well thought out to make it work as a unified 6-episode
But most of them were terrible.
Yeah, so
most of them were terrible.
So but then to go back to the hatred of Phantom Menace being a horrible script, stilted dialogue, just a really big pile of steaming Star Wars is basically what we're left with as people who are like, we waited how many years for a new Star Wars movie since 1981. It was almost 20 years. It was like, you gotta, if you put that into perspective, and then all you fans of the prequels, you have to put that into perspective. And I'll never say that I liked the Phantom Menace. That's never gonna happen.
No, me neither. All right.
So after that, we're going to
45 minutes of Star Wars chat.
Yes.
That's with the extended edition of AMC. It's like,
I think the question was what was redeeming about it.
Nothing.
We
Some of the lightsaber battles were cool.
The lightsaber duel, especially between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus
Darth Maul. Sure.
I love the pod race. To this day, I think that from a technical point of view, because my background is I was a producer at a CG animation visual effects company. From a technical point of view, that pod race, the sound design
unbelievable.
Bert on that, awesome. The
Ben
sound, because who did the sound editing and edited the film.
Yep, and created all those sound effects like a
Go out
stormtrooper's
into the
laser,
woods,
boing,
he
yeah,
made them
all that stuff.
The sound design of the pod race is spectacular. Visually, it's spectacular. I love that. I didn't mind the big droid versus army of Jedis battle in the arena when they show up. Although,
right.
how do they sneak up on them like
Yeah.
that? I have no idea, but whatever. There are, as in any good movie, there's some flaws. In any terrible movie, there's some redeeming qualities. And I will always say, there are some redeeming qualities about the prequels. But when you take the total sum, it's still a bag of crap, even though there's some nice dialogue.
You know who is my biggest redeeming factor for not just the prequels, but all 6 of the movies is Ian McDiarmid, the actor who played the Emperor.
Yeah, he was really good.
He was the strongest part, for me at least, of all 3 of those prequels. I really liked Revenge of the Sith. Like, I completely disliked Phantom Menace, and I still do. I've watched like the West Coast cut, which like cuts out a lot of the dumb stuff, and it's still hard to watch. So it's like I just don't ever really want to see it again.
Midi-chloridians.
Yeah, midi-chloridians. Give me a
Oh,
break.
don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
we've
God.
found out this strange way to add up the force that's inside. Get out of here. Attack of the Clones had a lot of fun scenes. Christopher Lee being in it was great. I'll just say that. Like, I liked Attack of the Clones. There were cool, fun scenes that I would watch again as an overall whole movie. I don't want to watch it again. Revenge of the Sith, I could watch that entire movie again. And though there's some leaden dialogue and acting from Hayden Christensen, it didn't ruin the movie for me. And I liked, the way everything resolved itself. But my favorite scenes were with Ian McDiarmid. All the scenes where he's talking about the slow reveal of him revealing himself to be the Emperor, then he turns into the Emperor, and every
When
scene
he's telling
with
the
him.
story of Darth Plagueis,
Yes,
that was really
amazing.
Great. That was narrative wise. That was the one scene in all of the prequels that actually drew me in.
Yes,
and I was hanging on the story. But you know what sums up even Revenge of the Sith, which I will say is the best of the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but it's summed up in this. These 2 Jedi warriors who can defy the laws of time, space, and magic and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Obi-Wan and Anakin are having their big lightsaber duel. And Obi-Wan's like, they're fighting and fighting and fighting. And in lots of different situations, in this big, long, drawn-out fight, they're in all types of terrain, on tables, on whatever, standing around each other, on top of each other, around whatever. But then they get down near the end, and they're on a slight slope. And Obi-Wan is standing here, and Anakin is standing here. And Obi-Wan's like, hey, give it up. I have the high ground.
Right.
What? Did
Right.
he really just... Dude, it's practically over. I have the high ground. It's like, really?
Yeah, didn't you just spider jump over like 15 different things? Yeah.
That's like, oh gosh. And that epitomized for me the Revenge of the Sith. And the whole thing about the way they brutally handled the turn of Anakin.
Yeah.
It's like Anakin is struggling with it. I want to save Padme. I want to be hero to the Republic. I want to be all this kind of stuff. Join me. We can save your wife. Okay, I'll do that for what I believe is the right thing to do. Let's do that. Good. The first thing I want you to do is go and butcher a bunch of school children. Okay, no problem. Here I go.
Here, younglings.
I'm gonna go
Younglings.
butcher a bunch of school children.
Yeah.
Really? I just didn't buy the turn.
Yeah.
Anything that had dramatic tension or anything like that, they just botched. It was.
Yeah, it's quite rushed, is what you're saying. As far as like tragically underwritten and then horribly executed. So thank God Disney's in charge. I never thought I would ever even say that. Like,
It's true.
Thank all of the forces that exist that George Lucas gave this amazing property that he created and then kind of bumbled through trying to do the right thing. I know his mind, I'm going to do it. It's my thing. I don't want other people to do it. I've got this all in my head. Whatever was in his head, he had too many yes men, all like, yes, King George,
men.
yes, George.
Yeah.
It's like, no one gave him any proper, like, when he had someone like Kurtz, they would argue, and they got into big arguments. In fact, Return of the Jedi, if Kurtz was around, would have been an entirely different film. It would have been a darker samurai-style film. No Ewoks would have been in it, and it would have been this really kind of crazy film where a lot of characters would have died. Han Solo would have died. It would have been a different film, which was an outline that he and George Lucas had written together, and then Lucas at the last minute was like, I'm going to change it. I don't want to do that. I want to add Ewoks. I want to do this.
Well, it's supposed to be Wookiees on that planet.
Right. They were still going to have that element in there, but I'm just saying a lot of things changed and Kurtz walked off. And there's different stories to that too. Like one story I'll hear is that Kurtz showed up and he's like, "What do you mean? Oh, George didn't tell you you're not on the film anymore." That's how Kurtz found out he wasn't working on Star Wars. A lot of weird stories. I mean, these are all in print, like, those tombs of the first 3 Star Wars movies. They're great if you want to read about them. But I'm really happy that Disney has it now, and couldn't be happier that J.J. Abrams and all Kathleen Kennedy, all these people are in charge of it.
Kathleen Kennedy, I think, is really going to be the key here, because I have a good friend of mine who has for a number of years held a very high position over at Skywalker Ranch in Lucasfilm, and I remember talking to him once, and he said, lifelong Star Wars fan himself, but we were talking about what might have went wrong. He said the thing is, nobody can say, George, that's a bad idea. Nobody had the gravitas or the right or the impetus to say to George Lucas, that's a bad idea.
Right.
And so I'm the smartest guy I know. I clearly don't know many people. No. But if I, and I think you guys would probably say this too, that if any of us in our own lives and with the stuff that we do and the projects we run individually, if all we had were people around us who said, great idea, great idea, great idea, and nobody to stop and say, you watch yourself. That one might be going out of bounds. That one might not be. If we don't have those people in our lives, we'd be wrecks.
Yeah.
And George Lucas got into a position where he had nobody to be a check and balance to him.
Yep.
And look, let's face it, he was never the most skilled director either. He's always been a great storyteller, not a great director.
Well, I'll argue that some of his earlier films, like American Graffiti and
absolutely.
THX 1138, those are films I could watch now, and he was a great director, I think. I think he did an incredible job on those films and Star Wars. Certain personal things affected him. He didn't want to do Empire Strikes Back, and other things affected him after that. And, it is what it is. But, you're completely correct in that saying that no one would say no to George is, literally the King George complex. Who's going to argue saying that George Lucas isn't a talented guy? He's already proven it, not just with Star Wars, but with all these other films, let alone Raiders of the Lost Ark. The entire Indiana Jones franchise was his idea. And then he brought in Spielberg. It's like none of us are arguing that.
Right.
All we're saying is, like, as far as I think I could speak for all three of us, we're not fans of the George Lucas prequels that he made. The onus is on him. It's all on him. He wrote them and he directed them, and they're not that good. As far as, I'll speak for myself. I don't think they're that good. And I'm very happy to see other people allowed to play in his in his little sandbox. I'm happy to see that he brought, and then that not only Kathleen Kennedy, but what she was like, let's bring back Lawrence Kasdan, one of the best writers who understood these characters, but was able to give them a 3-dimensional quality just in these like few lines that they had, So I'm really looking forward to, as a fan of Star Wars, and I'm still a fan of the entire universe of Star Wars, whether or not I didn't like those movies. There's a lot of other Star Wars products that I didn't like. That doesn't mean that I'm a Star Wars hater. I love a lot of the characters like Boba Fett or Darth Vader just because they were cool and they had this nostalgic impression on me when I was a kid, and I'll always have that. So for me, I can't wait to see these new prequels or these new sequels. Sorry. I'm sorry, another set of -0, -1, like new prequels. So.
All right, let's get on a new topic here.
Next one.
You don't want to talk about Star Wars anymore?
I can talk about Star Wars all day, son.
This is an anonymous writer. Greetings and salutations. This is a question regarding the upcoming Transformers Age of Extinction coming out in 2014. I've seen all of the movies so far. In all the movies, someone dies. Do you think the beginning of the new trilogy will have a big name die?
I don't know that this is a new trilogy. I honestly don't know that Michael Bay is going to be on this. I don't know that they're shooting it as if it's going to be a new trilogy. I know there have been some people that talked about that, but I don't know that they are that way. Will somebody die in it? Yeah, Michael Bay likes to kill off these characters.
And bring them back.
And bring them back if he needs to. Or in Megatron's case, several times.
As long as Shia LaDouche is not in the movie, because honestly, after that whole plagiarism thing that he did, I can't watch any movies that he's in. Like, I was going to watch Transformers Dark of the Moon, but just his face and knowing that he ripped off one of my favorite artists, Dan Clowes, I literally can't stand the guy.
See, it doesn't bother me because I don't think, for me, Shia LaBeouf at this stage, I don't think it's like, I'm going to plagiarize this guy. I think he's just off his rocker. there's something mental going on.
I think it's a big sham that he's doing. Like he's plagiarizing other people's responses. I think some his lawyer, entertainment lawyer, is like, do this and we'll trick everyone to think you're just crazy. I think he just tried to rip somebody off.
Okay, I want to be careful about saying what certain people are or aren't doing, but I will say this: is unless somebody is beating women or
murdering people
or killing people, drunk driving and stuff like that, I generally don't care about I try to separate their personal lives from because I've said for a long time I got a man crush on Russell Crowe. Mm-hmm. I think he's just one of the greatest actors of our generation, and I think he's incredible. But there are a lot of stories about him not being such a nice guy.
Phone chucking.
Yeah.
He likes to chuck phones at people.
And I can't argue those. I can't debate those. But at the same time, like for me personally, I think if I looked into the lives of all my favorite actors, I'm going to find something that tells me they're a big jerkhead.
Maybe not, but I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like just off topic of the Transformers, but like because he's in those 3 movies, he's also in Charlie Countryman, which I thought was a great film, and I still think it's a great and fun film, and he did a great job in it. It's just a bummer to me to see someone that I actually liked as an actor be so stupid and disrespectful to another artist. And that he has the balls to like print comic books and like sit at a table with all the rest of artists who've like busted their ass to make their own personal stories, and that he ripped off these other people's stories, their own words. A plagiarist is the worst type of an artist. It is like a creative's murderer. That's how I look at it, and that'll never go away. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry. It's like one of those things that really, for me, is just like, sorry, dude. Like, good luck with the rest of your life. I'll never watch another film you're in. Go crawl under a rock is all I could say. All right.
It's always the same guy that we got to look for bleeps for.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
Sorry, I got emotional about this.
But as far as everything else goes, I do think he'll kill somebody off. Who will he kill off? It doesn't matter who he kills off because he'll bring him back. I mean, he's already done that.
Died.
I hate it when they do that. I hate the whole bringing him back thing. Optimus has died. Megatron has died. It's just because them dying in the movie means nothing now in a Transformers movie because they're never really dead. So what's the emotional impact? I hate when they do it. Comics took a big turn for the worse when they brought back Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, because now nobody died. There's no danger anymore. There's no danger.
Didn't the Human Torch die like last year? No, he didn't. He came back three episodes later.
Yeah, Colossus died. Yep. He came back. I mean, everybody dies, and then eventually they come back. It ruined everything.
Because the Superman thing was covered by national press, mainstream press.
Yeah.
It was shown like on the nightly news and all this stuff. And
Captain America died.
And then eventually once he came back, then everyone's like, well, it's like a crying wolf, like now no one's going to believe you.
Even Robin died and they brought him back.
Death in the family. Not really.
Yeah, not really death. He's back. Jason Todd, now he's a bad guy. But, it's just because once you take that out, once you take out that my character is in danger, the character I'm reading is danger, and you realize there is no danger. He can get the bullet to the head from his arch villain bad guy, and it doesn't matter because they're going to find a way to revive him next episode. There's no and it just ruined it.
Can I just say this about it's off subject about Transformers? Smaug, or how do you say it? Smaug. I loved the first 2/3 of that film, but once we got to Smaug and him talking with Bilbo was great. I love that. But then they had this extended, I don't know how long it was, like 30 minutes of the dragon chasing the Hobbit and those dwarves around. And here's the thing that I became bored because none of those dwarves ever seemed like they were going to even get close to getting burnt, or there was no sense of any kind of danger. At least for me, like, hey, look, there's a dwarf floating on molten gold. I mean, to me, I was bored out of my mind. I hate saying that because I loved all the rest of the movie. But once they got past the Bilbo Smaug scene, and then he's just running around breathing fire. Oh, you got burnt a little bit, and there was no danger. So I'm like, no, I'm just watching. It's like a cartoon comedy show with these little flimpily dudes running around and like flying down tubes. And then where's Smaug? Oh, I thought he has the most amazing smell, but he's walking over them. I mean, it just got goofy to me.
I disagree.
That's what I'm saying. I want to see.
On the edge of my seat.
I want to see it in 3D on IMAX because I'm praying that it'll change how I felt about it. Because I went and saw it in 2D on a small screen. That's why I just didn't see it on the big screen. I don't know if it will, but that to
Probably
me,
not. From what you're saying, I don't think that particular thing is going to change.
right? It didn't ruin the film. I still love the film, but see, you were bringing up something about like when you eliminate the possibility of a threat. The stakes are gone.
Yeah, the
so for me,
tension leaves.
there was no stakes. It was just like, and then he flies away, and I'm like, oh, he's not even going to attack the city. That's in the third movie. Now I felt duped. I felt like, oh, they're stretching this out. That's how I felt. Honestly, that was loved all of it until they got to the dragon. Even loved the whole dragon intro scene with Bilbo. But once this prolonged try to escape from the dragon, silly plots like, oh, here's this molten gold, no effect. Flames have no effect. The dragon had no effect on 9 little dwarves. It just, to me, I was like, zero tension. So I'm hoping, like, I don't want to be disappointed with the third movie. I want to enjoy it, but now I'm like, oh, it's going to be the Battle of the Five Armies, and that dude they set up, he's got that one arrow that's going to magically go into the little hole. It just, something about the way they set it up for me is like, I'm bumming. So
everything you described is why I loved it so much.
All right, well,
all right, what's next?
All right, we have Tata Gonzalez. AMC Movie Talk question. I thought Skyfall was a great Bond movie that paid homage to the previous Bond movies. Example, DB5 with the machine guns and ejector seat. Now, if the rumor is true that Sam Mendes and Daniel Craig have signed on for a 2-part movie arc, that is to conclude Daniel Craig as Mr. Bond, do you think we could ever see all or most of the previous Bond actors in a small part in the next Craig Bond films? No, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe in the small role like a villain counsel, or do you think it's a bad idea to recast them as bad guys? Also, what do you think of Idris Elba as our next Bond and Christopher Nolan directing the first Bond movie with Idris as our favorite 00?
No, Christopher. No, that's not Christopher Nolan's bag. It's not a good fit. I don't think Christopher Nolan. And Christopher Nolan is a great director. I love Christopher Nolan's films, but no, he's not a good fit for Bond. I don't think that's a good.
he really
idea.
wants to do it though.
He's mentioned it. I don't think he would, and I think maybe he's being polite. But then, I mean, nothing is forcing him to say that. I just don't see it as fit, and I don't think he would do it. And if he did do it, I'd be very skeptical. I'd be hesitant about it. But hey, he's Christopher Nolan, whatever. The whole thing about getting all the other Bonds together, here's the problem. They wanted to get all the Bonds together for the last Academy Awards. Remember, they were going to do a ceremony with all the mustache. They couldn't even get them together to just appear on stage.
Yeah, for like 5 seconds.
For like 5 seconds. They couldn't make it happen. You're not going to get them together in a movie, and Sean Connery won't do it. There's just no way he's going to do it. And I think, I keep wanting to say Willoughby. George...
Lazenby.
Why do I want to say Willoughby? George Lazenby, I don't think would do it.
Roger Moore
probably would take time from serving fries, and he would probably do it. I think. But honestly, I have no problem with the idea of recasting them to be like a League of Villains. I think that's actually kind of a cool idea. I'd be down for that. But if you can't even get them on stage for 5 seconds, you're not going to get them together in a movie.
I think the idea of, especially in the Daniel Craig Bond, having them as a League of Villains is corny, and it would ruin it. Like, it would make it jokey.
Depends how you execute it. Depends how you pull it off.
Even if they made it all dead serious, that I would know and you would know, we would all know. Oh, those are all the Bond guys. I don't know.
And also the way that
I would prefer they don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
The way that Bond is now is a more serious Bond.
Yeah, that's all I'm
trying
saying.
To be more realistic, trying to
stunt casting. Why?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's like, it's a cool idea, definitely. Oh, get all those guys. I'd rather see that as a painting. Like, hey, here's Spectre, but it's all the Bonds. That'd be a cool, like, just it literally is all it is. It's just, oh, that's an interesting turn of an idea. Would you want to see that executed? I don't think so. No. I would much rather just see a new Bond movie. Get on it, start filming that.
Yeah, and I don't know, the Idris Elba thing about as the new Bond has come up a few times. I'm down with it. I'm fine with it. I don't think it'll happen. And remember, we are still minimum 5-6 years away from a Bond replacement. Who knows where Idris Elba is going to be?
He's going to be 60 like Denzel Washington.
Yeah. How old is he now? He's not in his 50s, is he?
Yeah.
I got to look that up. I'll second.
Maybe late 40s. I personally, I think Idris Elba. I've been always supporting him as Bond. I don't have a problem with it, like some people do.
I don't have a problem with it. They just got to get on it, and they're not going to get on it for like John just said, 5 years.
No, some people have a problem not because of age. They're like, because he's
Idris
black.
Idris is 41 years old.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm wrong.
But I'll tell him you said you thought you didn't look like he was 55.
Hey, hang on a second. No, if they rock through the Daniel Craigs and get those two shot back to back, if we get some Bond flavored like next year and the following 2 years, why not? I think he's a great actor. I mean,
oh yeah, he's clearly a great actor. Do I see him as Bond?
I do. I think he has the quality.
He could. I wouldn't complain about it. I think I honestly think there's a very good possibility we could see Henry Cavill as the next Bond.
I think that's a possibility as well. Probably more likely.
I would hate to see that just because it's like
he's already Superman.
I guess, yeah. It just feels like I know it's like we only have these like sometimes it's like we can only pick from these 4 actors and they're in everything. And then you're like, well, he's Superman now, like Chris Pine, like he's Star Trek now, he's doing this. Now
he's Jack
Ryan. Now he's Jack Ryan. It just like. I guess I'm sort of like, boy, can you just? There's like, how about these 20 actors? Just broaden it up a little bit, you know.
I mean, to me, it's not an issue about do you get a well-known actor, do you get a no-name actor? To me, it's just about fit. And for me, when I look at, and I don't care what else they're in or what else they're not in. If an actor I think has the talent, and they're a good fit, I say go for it. And Henry Cavill, I'm not saying he'd be my first pick. Henry Cavill will not be my first pick, but he is. Physically, he's the right look. He's young enough that once you because for Bond, you don't just get your next. It's not like a Batman franchise where you get your next Batman for the next 1 or 2 films. When you get Bond, you're talking about a generation. You want to get a guy who's going to be your Bond for 4, 5, 6, 7 films.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill's a guy who's in that age range. He's got the physicality for it. He's clearly got the acting chops. He's been looked at to be Bond before. So I think all those things weigh in his favor. And the fact that he's Superman right now, I don't think that should be a hindrance to him getting it. But once again, not my first choice. So, but I think
you're right. To be honest, I never even thought of him for 1 second as Bond. So that's my immediate like gut reaction. Is like, what?
Yeah,
no.
that makes sense.
But you know what? If they went through a bunch of stuff and then 5 years down the line, yeah, he's going to be Bond. I'd be like, okay, cool. Let's see it.
But it is tough to even speculate about who will be the next Bond when we are that far away from the discussion even starting.
I just want to see Daniel Craig end his Bond stuff the right way before I can even really think about who another Bond is.
And there's nothing saying he won't re-up for a couple more films. We know he's doing at least 2 more, but there's nothing that says he's going to do more and then that's it.
Right.
It might be it, but he may sign on for 2 or 3 more films when that's done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because right now he's in the bag. He's only got 3. If he does 2 more, that makes him he's done 5 Bonds.
Yeah,
it's like they got to get on it and stop. Like we waited a long time for Skyfall.
Yeah.
So
all right.
They wanted to make sure it was better than Quantum of Solace. That's why.
Right. No, but I guess what I'm saying is like the MGM wait and all this, like just to even get the thing going. Yeah.
But okay, so the next one is from Ben Atwater. Let's see. Hi, John and crew. I love the show and it has become my favorite nighttime tradition to watch movie talk before bed.
Thanks, man.
My question
I like knowing that you take me to bed with you. Does that sound wrong?
My question is about the new Godzilla movie. From the looks of the trailer, it seems like they're not going to show too much of the monster. This could just be the style of the trailer, but what if they don't show the monster very much in the movie, either a la Cloverfield? I like Cloverfield very much, but it is not the way I want Godzilla to be. For the monster to be veiled for most of the film, I grew up watching the Toho films. I want to see the monster. I know Gareth Edward wants to make a character-driven movie, but I don't think he should lose sight showing Godzilla in his kaiju glory. So how do you think they will approach the movie, and how will they balance showing the monster while maintaining strong characters? Pacific Rim could only do the first. Thanks and good luck.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the first trailer for Godzilla, let's not forget, Godzilla's still 4 months away. It's still 4 months away. That was just the first trailer. The biggest marketing tool that Warner Brothers has in their tool belt for Godzilla is Godzilla. They will show us Godzilla in the trailers. I have no doubt as we get closer to the film's release, we're still 4 months away, they will start revealing more and more of Godzilla. Before the movie comes out, we're going to see Godzilla in the trailers and full-on Godzilla as well, because that's their biggest marketing tool, and they're not going to abandon that, I don't think so. That's what they'll do.
Well, we were just watching Pacific Rim outside.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, before I saw the movie, reading about Guillermo saying, well, we're going to show where each of the battle sequences in Pacific Rim have their own kind of style to them. And I remember when I seeing it, even for the second time, just being so into the film that I didn't really think about that. But then we were just watching it on video just a couple hours ago, and I was like, oh, right, that first scene with Knifehead, that scene is all told from people's cameras. It's all told from it. Every single shot, if you watch it again, is told from the perspective of either a news crew, a person on the floor, a person on top of a building, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And that's kind of the way that Gareth has already said that's the way that they're shooting Godzilla. So you're not going to see, or at least my guess is at first, you're going to see him shot that way. But look at it this way. When you saw that trailer, I didn't see all these other people running around like everything's told from somebody's, camera. Like, it's actually, the trailer that you see is cinematic. You're watching people jump from planes, and you see their perspective, but you're also seeing all these other amazing cinematic shots, which are obviously not being told from some news camera. So I think you're going to see big, massive cinematic shots of Godzilla fighting other monsters on an epic scale, but that will happen more towards the end of the film. They're going to introduce him kind of more so like with, the Cloverfield style of cinematography. That's my guess.
I don't think we're going to see other monsters.
No, I think we are, because if you saw the other leaked teaser trailer, there's a dead other monster on the ground.
Really?
There's two.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm wrong.
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
why
You guys
I
are
didn't
right.
give up faith on Godzilla, because I was like, he's going to actually, because after Pacific Rim, you can't just have only Godzilla. It's like he's gonna
He's
fight
going to
other
be battling other
Yeah,
monsters.
so-
And I think the other future trailers will show more of him.
Yeah.
Just want to remind you guys that we are doing a 24-hour movie talk marathon. We have been going since 10 o'clock this morning, Pacific Standard Time, and we are going right through until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Pacific Standard Time. We're getting close. We're starting to close in on 12 hours that we've been going. You tell I'm doing this a lot. My neck is starting to get sore. My throat is getting very, very raw. We're getting tired here, but I want to let you know we are doing this to raise money for those of you who are just joining us. We are trying to raise some money all together. You and us together are trying to raise some money for the typhoon victims in the Philippines. The most powerful typhoon in the history of recorded world hit the Philippines, devastating a lot of that country and leaving a lot of the people without homes, without water, without food. It's a really, really bad situation there that needs your help. And how can you help? We've partnered with the Red Cross right now, and just go to this URL that you see right here, www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines, or look in the description of this video. You'll see a link you can just click. You'll go there, you'll see a big red Donate Now button. Click on that and donate and help some people out who really, really need it. It's awesome. That's the whole reason we've been doing it. We set a goal of raising $3,000 by the time that we were dead. From when we started the campaign a few weeks ago to the end of the marathon, we set a goal of raising $3,000. We have already raised over $15,000.
Yeah.
We are now $388 away from $16,000.
Yes!
So guys, keep on giving. Thank you so much to all of you who have been donating. Please keep giving, and we will keep on talking our throats raw through the night. Thank you for joining us.
All right, next question.
When are we taking a break again?
We are taking a break in 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Eric the Great, this is not a question, but a nice comment. Been watching for a while. Just wanted to thank you all for what you do. You all make me sound a lot smarter than I am at parties or with friends when I can fill in everyone about the upcoming movie information.
Excellent. That's what we're here. We are here to serve you, sir.
Awesome. That's
Love
so
what
happy to
you
hear
do,
that.
and will only go to AMC movie theaters now just to show my support for the show.
Do me a favor, get on Twitter and tweet at AMC Theaters.
And say
I
that.
only go to AMC Theaters because of AMC Movie News.
Yeah.
Go tell them that.
Tell them it.
Keep up the great work and hope to meet you all one day. Here's another great year of movie talk. Well, if you guys want to meet us,
Yes.
we'll be at Comic-Con this year.
Yep.
And we always have a meet and greet. Well,
As of last year, we did a meet and greet. We were floored by the response. I mean, not just at the meet and greet, which is really cool. We met people at our AMC Movie Talk meet and greet last year who traveled across the country. What state was that one young guy from? The one young guy and his mom.
From Russia.
No, there was another young guy from I think from Ohio or something like that.
Oklahoma or Ohio.
Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma. And they came up to us at our AMC meet and greet and said, just want to let you know, we came here just for this. And we were like, for what? Like, how are you guys enjoying Comic-Con? They said, no, we don't have passes for Comic-Con. We drove out here from Oklahoma for this meet and greet, which just blew us away. You know, we're walking around Comic-Con and having other sons of AMC come up to us, fans of the show, and talking to us there. It was just a blast. And we are going to do another meet and greet at Comic-Con this year. And so please come on down to San Diego Comic-Con in the summer. We are going to have a meet and greet, and we would love to meet you guys.
Yeah, and thanks to all the people who were there that we saw at this previous Comic-Con. It was great to meet all y'all.
Absolutely.
All right. Thomas writes, what character do you think The Rock will play and be a good fit for the DCU if his tweet is to believe?
I believe his tweet. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, somebody tweeted The Rock, said, hey, if there's ever a chance we'll see you in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to which The Rock replied, just actually had meetings with Warner Brothers yesterday. We got something really big in store, blah, blah, blah. So for the DC Universe. So it looks like he's going to be somebody in the DC Universe. You know, a lot of people are speculating Martian Manhunter. Will he be a Lex Luthor? Will he be Lobo? Will he be, there's lots of different options here. I'm not really convinced he's going to be a superhero. I'm not saying he won't. I'm not saying he won't. A Lex Luthor is an interesting possibility, though.
It's interesting, but kind of weird. Like
very
so
weird.
Odd.
Very
I would go more with Lobo.
I'd go Lobo too.
If anyone's gonna play Lobo and you have to. In order for Lobo to be interesting, you need a fun actor.
But can Lobo even be in this universe?
The Rock plays him, yes.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Rock. After seeing Pain and Gain is in my top 20 of this year's movies.
Awesome, nice.
I really like that film, and a lot of it has to do with just the way that The Rock and Mark Wahlberg all interacted. And I'm forgetting the other actor's name.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie, who's an incredible actor, is going to play the Falcon, but he was great in that. Those three guys had such great chemistry, it made the movie fun. And I believe that the film itself was directed really well. A lot of people cranked on Michael Bay as saying had too many Bayisms or this. I'm like, you know what? I thought it was, I thought it was really well directed and a really smart, fun film. And I laughed quite a lot seeing that film. I really enjoyed it. So to me, that finally, it's not like I need to be proven that The Rock can act. I think The Rock is just a great actor, but he's being allowed to act now.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being a muscular dude who can say a couple of one-liners. They're actually letting him act, and he's proving to all the people who are letting him act that he can act.
But let's not underestimate too how hard he has worked over the past 7, 8, 9 years to get to this point.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And he has. I mean, there are fewer guys. He's not just a big smile and a good-looking dude. The same work ethic that he brings to the gym, which is put in every ounce of your heart, sweat, mind, soul, everything. When he's in the gym, he just goes out. He brings that to his career as well. There are fewer guys who work harder. You got a Daniel Day-Lewis, for example, absolutely. But there are fewer guys who work harder in this business than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Sure, and
he tries so hard, and he's bearing fruit now. We're seeing results.
Well, did you guys see Faster? Remember that movie?
I really liked Faster.
I was going to say
Faster,
that was an underrated film, and it was under the radar, and he did such a fantastic job playing a different type of a character than he.
Did you watch Snitch?
I did not see Snitch yet.
He's so good in Snitch.
Okay. Snitch is a different level. I'm not saying like he's some masked Oscar worthy,
but for him, it's a new level.
It's a new level
of
acting.
It's on my list to check out.
He doesn't play an action star. There's like a little bit of action, like in a couple scenes,
but more realistic stuff.
But yeah, he plays a guy who's not the guy that's beating up people.
Now, there is some talk in some of the guys in the chat board here, a whole bunch of people, including Hypersoul, is pointing out that, let's not forget, about 5 years ago, there was movement on a Shazam movie.
Right, he's going to be Black Adam.
And he was going to be Black Adam. And so a lot of people are actually in the chat board right now saying, Black Adam. Not a wild theory.
Right.
That's not out there.
No, it's not out there.
That's because Black Adam could be a legit threat to a potential Justice League without having to go all the way to either a Doomsday or Darkseid right away. A Black Adam would be a great intermediary villain for something
That's
like
actually
that.
not a bad idea because then you can actually introduce Shazam or Captain Marvel or
Yes.
whatever they're going to call him. You know, his name isn't Shazam. That's a normal thing that people are like, well, what about that guy Shazam? Well, actually, that's just the thing he says to turn into Captain Marvel. He has to say Shazam.
Did they change that in the New 52?
I think so.
I think
What?
they changed. I think his
did.
name is actually Shazam now.
Come on.
Yeah.
They didn't want him to be called Captain Marvel.
So now, so what does he say to turn into Shazam now?
He says Shazam.
Captain Marvel! Now I am Shazam.
I think he'd play a great Lobo just because Lobo needs attitude, and I think
Yep,
I
he
think
can do it.
The Rock can bring that like funny, but also at the same time,
Intergalactic bounty hunter with a chip on his shoulder.
I don't know if
sense of
people
humor.
have seen one of my favorite action movies is actually
Scorpion King 2?
The Rundown with
Oh,
Peter
he's
Berg.
yeah.
He's awesome.
I was going to mention The Rundown is such a fun film.
Yeah.
And unexpectedly fun.
What's the one line he says to Christopher Walken? I was taught never take a beer out of another man's fridge without asking permission. You remember that? Because he's there to get Stifler.
Yeah.
He's
Right.
there to get Stifler, but he goes to Christopher Walken first, who I guess is the crime lord of the area. And he says, hey, just so you know, I'm here to get this guy. And Christopher Walken is like, why are you telling me? And he's like, because I was taught never to take a beer from another man's fridge without asking permission. Great line.
Yeah.
Oh, The Rock.
I like that idea, though, as Black Adam as being like the push to try to get the Justice League together.
Right.
That's an interesting way. And why not even say, will Shazam be part of the Justice League? Why have two Supermen?
Yeah.
You can
there are a bunch of people saying now in the chat board, it is official now. Shazam is the official name of the character.
Wow.
Because Miss Marvel in the Marvel universe now goes by Captain Marvel. So you had two Captain Marvels going. So I guess everybody just identified Captain Marvel in the DC universe as Shazam anyway. I guess they just decided to go all the way with it and call him Shazam.
Okay. Still, I would say I would hope that they're not going to waste The Rock as Black Adam. I think it's an interesting idea, but
I'd like to see him as a villain. I think it'd be cool to
Well,
see him as a villain. But I
Lobo's
like,
kind of-
I like
an
Lobo
anti-hero.
too.
Yeah.
I like Lobo too.
he's
Not quite a
an
hero.
anti-hero.
Yeah.
So
All right, so the next question. Hello, sons and daughters of AMC. My question is, why do Marvel movies make more money internationally compared to DC movies? Is it just because they're more family-friendly? Thor 2 wasn't as good as Man of Steel, and it barely made $200 million domestically, but it still made $620 million total, which is 67.8% international. Do you think one of the reasons that could be that DC heroes, especially Superman, are seen as more American? Marvel heroes seem more anti-establishment compared to DC. What do you think? If Superman was less American and less Jesus-y, would it make more money? Thanks.
no, I don't think so.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's number one. You're talking about Marvel, which is not only just Marvel. Disney having like 6 to 7 different properties, making hundreds and hundreds of $1 million. Iron Man 3 made over $1 billion. So you have this monster, this behemoth, this creature, this giant spaceship, and then you have DC, which is like a moon. I mean, they don't have enough movies that they've made yet to even kind of even compare. They're not even in the same ballpark. That's why I'm saying like DC's like a crumbly moon and Marvel is like 45-ton giant Ego the Living Planet eating other planets. I mean, you have Man of Steel, which was great, and you have the Dark Knight trilogy, and then what else you got? You got Constantine. I mean, give me something. You don't have nothing. You have Green Lantern, which failed. You don't have anything. Marvel has got all their films, Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and they also have all of the Spider-Man movies. They have all of the X-Men movies. They have all of the ancillary characters that they sold off to other people who are making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that are all, what is it eventually? It doesn't matter who's Fox, X-Men. No one really thinks about that because they know Marvel X-Men. Fox doesn't matter. Sony doesn't matter. Marvel Spider-Man. So who gets the win? Marvel, regardless. I mean, seriously.
I don't know. Sony cashed a $600 million check. I'd say the win goes to Sony personally.
No, for Spider-Man. But I'm saying who gets the ultimate win? Who owns all those properties? Who can have a video game with Spider-Man and the Hulk and the Avengers and X-Men? Yeah. It's Marvel. Yeah. And ultimately, what is Marvel is Disney. Yeah. So now Disney ultimately gets all that flavor from all the different companies. Guess what? You're all working for me. I'm the head of the octopus. You're an arm. DC doesn't have that yet. They haven't sold their properties to other people to allow them to exploit them, to bring it back to Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers has to get on the ball with getting their incredible library of DC comic book characters out to people who can actually make something with them and bring that money back.
They do face a bit of a problem, though, because here's the problems they're going to face. The one thing about Marvel, and you raise some really good points about the advantages that Marvel have, even with these characters that aren't under their roof. The disadvantage, though, that they have is that they are not in control of those characters now. That Sony is free to do. If Sony wants to make Spider-Man a 3-armed, acrobat dude, they can do that, which is weird.
Right.
But now with Warner Brothers, not only do they face the process, they sell off those characters now. They're not really in control of those characters. But here's the other problem they face. I am positive that the market would be limited. Why? Fox can't take on a DC character. And I'm positive that is part of the agreement they have with Marvel. Sony can't take on a DC character because they've already got a Marvel characters in their universe there. Universal becomes an option. Lionsgate is an option.
Paramount
is an option. But you've got a limited playing field now. And I just don't think Warner Brothers wants to be in the position that because I think Marvel would take it all back if they could.
Oh, they
I think if
definitely would.
Marvel could turn back time and not sell off their properties and still have them under their roof, I think because you're absolutely right about the advantages. Because you pointed out before on other shows that the fact that we wouldn't have nearly as many Spider-Man, X-Men films, stuff like that, if they were all under Marvel's roof.
Marvel couldn't churn out
They
that
couldn't
many
turn them out
movies
that
at the
fast.
same time.
And so we as fans benefit. I think that's absolutely right when Schnepp points that out. But I think if given the option, Marvel would turn back time and get
Marvel
them all back.
sold those rights because at that time they were almost bankrupt.
Right.
Well, yeah, they had to. They had no choice.
They needed to,
Yeah.
So, and then suddenly superhero comic book movies became really popular. Like, oh, we wish we hadn't done that.
know.
Please bring them back. But also, I do think the Marvel movies are more family friendly. I think there's more comedic elements to it. I mean, when you think of the Batman franchise or the Superman franchise, especially the latest Superman, they are much more serious.
Yeah.
And so I think, internationally, maybe they want something that's a little more fun.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Kyle Harlow is saying Justice League absolutely needs to have the Wonder Twins. Maybe The Rock can be one of the Wonder Twins.
Oh, did I ever do? I tweeted it out. I
Yes,
had
you did. You
that
showed the
picture of the
poster
Wonder
art,
Twins.
yeah.
I finally was like, did I lose it? No, I had it. You know what? Thor 2, The Dark World. I was talking with Holly. I was like, what film did we really have such a good time at? And we were trying to go through because I had my list and I was like, it was like a superhero film or what? I didn't even say superhero film because otherwise I wouldn't. Oh yeah, Thor 2. Thor 2 was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like even though Malekith, you can't really compare that character to someone like General Zod.
Yeah.
Obviously Zod and that whole storyline had way more power than this angry elf trying to exact
elf.
Yeah, trying to exact the apocalypse
because he wanted the darkness.
Yeah,
I
just a
miss
little
the darkness so much.
My little scrimbly red thing that snakes around. That's what I want to live inside of that thing. It never really makes that much sense. I understood Zod a lot more. He was like, I want to rebuild our society, our Krypton,
He
and
was
I
a more
will
empathetic character.
Yeah, I will terraform your world to rebuild mine. Are you a Kryptonian or are you an Earthling?
And he wanted the genetic code.
Yeah,
from,
that's what I mean.
Superman's
It's like it had all that impact and that weight that you need to have, but what it didn't have is the lighter touch that allowed you to enjoy the characters and the situations and get involved with it in it. Not saying it was a comedy, but just being able to have a little levity.
And you know what
goes a long way.
The thing, and I put Thor 2 in my top 20 that we did earlier today. Just for fun, I might re-list all the top 20 that we did, but one of the problems with it is the same problem that I had, and you guys alluded to this, with the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek film. I love the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek film, but it had a weak villain. Malekith is Nero.
Yes.
This villain that, on the surface looks kind of menacing, but when you really look at him, his motivation doesn't really make a lot of sense. He really isn't that important to the story. Mechanically he's important to the story, but that's about it. He's not memorable in any way, shape, or form. Malekith was Nero. That is what Thor 2 was missing as far as, because it wasn't in my top 10, from breaking into the top 10, the thing that kept Thor 2 from being in my top 10 for the year was the fact that it did not have a solid good villain. And Loki was a great character, but Loki was not playing the role of the villain in this film. Had he, might have been a different story.
Right. Well, I'd even go one step further. Had they not decided to have Chris Eccleston, who's a great actor, not only he's like totally covered in makeup, but he's also speaking Elvish the entire time.
Yeah.
So it just on that dramatic front, I'll argue that diminished his power as an actor, diminished his power as us as viewers in him being the villain.
Right. Oh, that's like Tom Hardy as Bane.
You couldn't even understand him. He's like, I would like to know what he said. Oh, wait, it's a new scene. Like, you don't...
And you know what else hurt him? You know what else hurt him? And I really like this scene, but I have to admit, now that you're mentioning it, it kind of hurt the Malekith character. He got his ass handed to him by Thor's mom.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just a fight back and forth, and then Thor's mom got the edge, and then the other bad guy showed up. She kicked his ass.
And then Thor hit him with some lightning.
A beating.
Yeah, he got his ass beat, and then Thor burnt his face.
Yeah.
And
so it's like, okay, so there kind of goes that big threat. Hey, guys, I just want to mention we've crossed $16,000.
Yeah!
We have crossed $16,000. I never thought that we would get to $16,000, that you guys would get us to $16,000. We're now at $16,025 that you guys have raised for the Red Cross efforts for the typhoon relief in the Philippines. Thank you so much. Let's keep rolling, and we're only halfway done, guys.
Yeah, let's cross that 20,000, yo.
I'm sure all of you. I think there's like over 1,500 people in the live chat board right now. Over 1,600 people in the live chat board. I'm sure all of you are still going to be here at 4 a.m. and still donating and still giving to the cause. We're going to be here.
Yeah, I want at least 15 of you, whoever you are, that haven't donated yet, to wait until 3:30 in the morning and then all donate at the same time. That would be pretty awesome. Just to see that spike at 3:30.
Look, I've repeated this a couple of times, but seriously, I set the original goal at $3,000. I thought if we can get $3,000, if we can raise $3,000, look, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but that's going to go a long way to helping a lot of people. If we can reach out $3,000 as movie fans together, that would be awesome. All of us coming together and doing this, and now we're at 16. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's keep giving. Let's do one more question, and then we're going to take another break. As I explained before, we can't do 24 hours live streaming straight. YouTube doesn't even allow that. So we're doing this roughly in 2-hour segments and taking a 10 to 15 minute break.
I'm out of water. I need a refill.
I'm out of water. I need a bathroom break. I need to get Ann to make me some more tea or something, and just relax for a few minutes, and then we'll reset and start the live stream again. If you want to follow me on Twitter, just look down here. You see my Twitter handle here is at johncampia.com. Follow me there, and I will put out the direct link to the next live segment, or just go to our main YouTube page, youtube.com/AMC Theaters, and you'll see in about 2 minutes there will be the new link there for the next live segment that'll be going up. So we are going to take a break here, guys. We are in the 12th hour. We are 30 minutes away from having this, for being halfway through this 24-hour marathon. So we're going to take a short break, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be right back. Again, you guys have crossed $16,000 to help the people in the Philippines. Thank you so much. We will be right back.